What's going on, everyone? We are live on YouTube. We are live on TikTok. It is week 14 of the NFL season. It's the best day of the week, and there is a lot to talk about today. How we doing, everyone? It's the best day of the week. We are live on YouTube. We are live on TikTok. Gavin is the first one here. Good morning, Gavin. Dak or Taysom Hill today. It's going to be a lot of Taysom Hill questions, man. But Taysom Hill's a good option. Taysom Hill's a good option, but you're not playing him over Dak. You're not playing him over Dak. You can come to the YouTube live, see my top 10 quarterbacks for this week. You'll see Taysom Hill is a top 10 quarterback on my list now. He wasn't Thursday night, but my updated top 10. Sure, Jordan, thanks for the gifts, man, in the TikTok live. Appreciate that. But I have Dak Prescott ranked number 7. I have Taysom Hill ranked number 9. So it's close, man. But the Cowboys are likely going to destroy Washington today. They're likely going to destroy Washington today. Washington is without basically their entire depth chart of defensive ends is not playing. Chase Young, obviously already on IR. Montez Sweat is out. James Smith-Williams is out for Washington. They're without John Bostic. They're without Jared Norris. They're missing 3 of their top 5 players in the secondary as well. They're really just decimated on a defense that already wasn't playing well this season. So I think you got to be playing Dak. Why Crowder in your background? Come to the YouTube live. You can see my top 10 wide receivers this week. And right there at number 1, guys, it's the week. It is the week that I honestly did not know we would have, but it's here. It's Jameson Elite Crowder week. Elijah Moore on IR. Corey Davis on IR. Jameson Crowder gets a Saints secondary today that ranks 4th worst against receivers this season. They've been torched in almost every single game that they've played in the secondary. And Jameson Crowder's not even going to be going up against Marshawn Lattimore, who also hasn't been good this season. He's been really bad. He's dropped off big time. Elijah Moore had a 35% target share last week, and he's not playing. Jameson Crowder is in line for at least 10 targets today, guys. He's in line for at least 10 targets against a Saints secondary that has been the 4th or 5th worst against receivers this season. They really have been consistently terrible in the secondary this season. Last week, Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb both went over 14 points. The week before that, Stephon Diggs torched them for 20 points. The week before that, DeVonta Smith torched them for 61 yards in a game Jalen Hurts barely had to pass the ball. Marcus Johnson torched Marshawn Lattimore for 100 yards. This is Jameson Elite Crowder week, guys. It's here. It is here. He absolutely should be played on DraftKings and FanDuel. And in your season-long leagues, you got to be considering Jameson Crowder. I would not play him over Sony Michel. Yes, Sony Michel is a must start. I will say, though, with Sony Michel playing on Monday night, you should go add Sony Michel's backup. Let me pull up his name really quickly. I never heard of him until literally 2 days ago. But there is a chance. It was Darrell Henderson is on the COVID list now. And of course, there's a chance that Sony Michel is a close contact to Darrell Henderson, is therefore not allowed to play. That is not the case yet. But the only other running back on the Rams roster you should probably go at him if you have Sony Michel, just as an insurance policy. Because the game's on Monday night. You don't want to be in a situation where something happens Monday or after the game starts today, and then you have Sony Michel in your lineup. So go add, his name is Mekhi Sargent, Mekhi. Go add him if you have Sony Michel. I did that this morning in a team that I have Sony Michel. Those are the only 2 running backs on the Rams roster. Guys, we're live on YouTube. We're live on TikTok. I'm going to get as many comments as I can today. I know it's a massive, massive week. Kansas City defense or Cardinals defense? I would probably go KC, man. The Chiefs are 9.5-point favorites today against the Raiders. That's way too many points in my opinion, but still. 2-year app sub. Thanks, man. Yeah, guys, if you haven't checked out the WalterPicks app yet, you got to go check it out. Also, on the YouTube live, you can see my top 10 rankings, every position. Can answer a lot of the questions I'm seeing. I would play Crowder over Cooks. Brandon Cooks actually is questionable today with a back injury, so he's not even confirmed playing yet. All right, let's get to this question, though. Start 2, Saquon, Hunt, Michelle, Jeff Wilson. Yeah, this has to be Saquon and Michelle. Jeff Wilson and Jermichael Hasty, like literally 4 days ago on the Thursday Night Live, I thought one of those two guys was going to be like a must start this week. But Debo Samuel's back earlier than expected. And that's not good for Jeff Wilson. It's just not. Debo Samuel's the best running back on the 49ers. So I think I would go Sony Michel and Saquon. Sony Michel is a must start. He's a must start, even in a tough matchup. He's probably going to touch the ball 20 plus times. And I think Saquon Barkley's a must start this week too. The Chargers' run defense is not good, guys. Not good. Pick 2, Dawson Knox, Jalen Guyton, Jeff Wilson, and the Detroit running backs. Yeah, I'm not that into the Detroit running backs. The Detroit running backs also, there's a lot of running backs to consider this week. If you are considering the Detroit running backs, there's a lot of running backs to consider. I would argue that Rashad Penny is a better option than both of the Detroit running backs. If you're going to play one of the Detroit running backs, I think I like Jamar Jefferson the most in PPR formats. I think he is going to touch the ball the most in the backfield. But I think it's Ngakwu. I'm not good at pronouncing his name. He's going to be involved too. But it's also the Lions. It's hard to get very excited about the Lions. That's why I think I would lean towards Rashad Penny in a good matchup against the Houston Texans, who have been the worst run defense in the NFL. And honestly, Alex Collins has been incredibly inefficient this season. I won't be surprised when we see Rashad Penny go for 100 yards today. I think that's in his range of outcomes. I really do. Gallup or Julio? Guys, Julio Jones is back. Julio Jones is back, man. And he's a risk. Obviously, he's risky, but he gets a pretty good matchup against the Jaguars. He's competing with really nobody for targets. I think I would play Julio Jones over Gallup. I wouldn't play Julio in every situation, but over Gallup, I think I would do. Jameson, Elite Crowder over Gallup as well. I would play him over Cedric Wilson. I would play him over Russell Gage. Guys, Jameson, Crowder, again, Elijah Moore's out. Corey Davis is out. The Saints defense ranks bottom 5 against receivers this season. And it's not even it's like one big game that they let up. It's consistently they are getting torched in the secondary. And this is a game where Jameson Crowder is going to be able to eat. And the Jets are also massive underdogs in this game. So they're going to have to throw. The Saints are arguably the most lopsided defense in the league. They're the best run defense in a bottom 5 pass defense. They're so good against the run, and they're so bad against the pass. So it just funnels yards to the receivers. That's why I'm feeling good about Jameson Crowder. I like Marquez, Valdes, Scantling this week too. I see that question in the TikTok live. Pick 2, Dawson Knox, Jalen Guyton, Jeff Wilson, Detroit running back. Sorry, I went on a tangent there, Ryan, about the Detroit running backs. Personally, I don't like starting 2 tight ends, but I like Dawson Knox this week. Let me pull up my top 10 tight ends. If you come to the YouTube live, by the way, link is in the TikTok bio. You can see my top 10 rankings, every single position. I have my tight ends actually showing right now. And I have Dawson Knox right there at number 4. I think Dawson Knox is really set up for a massive week. I think the entire Buffalo Bills offense, you want pieces of that Bills Buccaneers game, really any way you can get it this week. It's, I think, one of the highest over-unders of the season in this game. Should I start Renfro or CEH? Yeah, both are good starts. It looks like Darren Waller's out again this week. I think I would prefer Renfro over CEH, but really both are in good matchups. And I would argue CEH is a little bit safer just because he plays running back. Zeke or Patterson? This is a good one. Let me pull up my top 10 running backs. I think I have Zeke ahead of Patterson. Yeah, I do. I have Zeke ranked number 6. You kind of have to play Zeke. You really have to play Zeke this week. And we didn't expect this, 5 days ago, but it seems more likely than not that Tony Pollard is not playing this week. He has a torn plantar fascia. I don't know if I'm saying that right either. But it doesn't sound like a good foot injury. And he's doubtful today. I'm pretty confident he's not playing. And if Tony Pollard doesn't play, you have to play Zeke. You have to play Zeke. Zeke could see 25 touches. Zeke could see 30 touches in this game. The Cowboys are also massive favorites. Actually, the Cowboys are my one lock against the spread this week. If you see on the YouTube Live, again, link is in the TikTok bio for the YouTube Live. You can see my favorite picks against the spread this week. We cashed, by the way, Vikings -3.5. We cashed KJ Osborne over 47.5 yards on that Thursday night game. Hopefully we all cash those. But the Cowboys are likely going to destroy Washington today. I know Washington's on a bit of a streak right now. And my lock last week was against Washington, and it missed. So I'm fully transparent with my misses. But I'm betting against Washington again this week, but for a slightly different reason. They are very injured. On the defense, they're without, obviously, Chase Young still, but they had 2 more defensive ends go on the IR today, or in the last few days. Montez Sweat is out. James Smith-Williams is out. They've been without John Bostic, their best inside linebacker for a while. And they're without 3 of their top 5 corners as well. So this could be a big game for Zeke in the Dallas Cowboys offense. Like, this is one of the best offensive lines in the league against basically practice squad level defensive linemen in this game, which is usually a strength for Washington. It's going to be a massive weakness for Washington today. So you really have to play Ezekiel Elliott in almost all situations. And he's a top 6 option this week. I know he's looked bad, but the odds he scores a touchdown, the odds he sees 15, 20 plus touches in this game is just way too high. You have to play Zeke. Crowder or Shepard. Yeah, I'm not trusting Sterling Shepard. I want to trust Sterling Shepard, but we just don't know what the workload is going to be for. Like, he's only played 3 full healthy games this whole season. He's played 5 total games, 2 of which he got hurt. He's played 3 full games this season. We're talking about Sterling Shepard now. And in those games, he has 33 targets. So, like, you can feel good about him if we think he's going to play the whole game. I just don't know he's going to play the whole game. Morning, Sam. Start Julio Jones or Devontae Freeman PPR. Good morning, Richard. It's the best day of the week, Richard. It's Sunday, man. We got a good Week 14 slate. And Devontae Freeman versus Julio Jones is close, too. I think I would probably go Freeman. In a PPR league, though, there's no way around it. Julio Jones has a higher ceiling than Devontae Freeman this week. He does. So personally, I'd probably play Julio, but I imagine our projections have Devontae Freeman projected ahead of Julio Jones. So this is not an easy decision. But if you're looking for the upside, you kind of have to go Julio against the Jaguars. Monty or Zeke, you can't bench Zeke. You really can't bench Zeke. Rashad Penny or Hilliard. Yeah, Miguel. I think it's Penny, man. I like Rashad Penny this week. Rashad Penny has had talent since he entered the league. He just has had one of the most he has had such a hard time staying healthy. He really hasn't had a stretch of being healthy this long in the NFL, like his whole career. Like, this is the longest healthy stretch he's had, knock on wood. And he's playing against, he's really just competing against Alex Collins today, who's been one of the least efficient running backs in the league. Pete Carroll has said himself they want to get Rashad Penny more involved, and he's got the best matchup he could possibly have. The Texans have been the worst run defense in the NFL, allowing over 125 rushing yards just to running backs per game. So I feel pretty good about Penny this week. I think he has upside. Obviously, there's risk. Like, he could go out there and be inefficient early in the game too, and then Alex Collins could end up getting more work. But I would go a Penny over Hilliard. Freeman or Jeff Wilson this week. Yeah, I'm not in on Jeff Wilson that much this week. With Debo Samuel back, I'm really not excited about Jeff Wilson or Jermichael Hasty. Because Debo Samuel could just easily steal the touchdowns and the receiving work from both those guys. DJ Moore or DK Metcalf. Yeah, that one's close too, man. I think I would go DJ Moore, though. I would go DJ Moore. And obviously, DK Metcalf has upside. But the matchup for DJ Moore is too tough to ignore, especially when you go back, you look at the Falcons last game and just how badly they were torched by Chris Godwin. And DJ Moore is not that much different than Chris Godwin. He plays a very similar role for the Panthers as Chris Godwin plays for the Buccaneers. So, I mean, I like DJ Moore this week. I know that it's tough to get behind Cam Newton right now after his last game. There's going to be a lot of people doubting Cam Newton heading into this week, and rightfully so. But the matchup is there, man. The matchup is there. The Falcons have been really bad in the secondary. this season. They were torched last week. 143 yards, 15 catches for Chris Godwin last week. Gallup or Ayuk? I think I would go Ayuk over Gallup. Amari Cooper is back too. Guys, we are live on YouTube. We are live on TikTok. It's week 14 of the NFL season. We got to get into the fantasy football playoffs. We got to get in. And if you come to the YouTube live, link is in the TikTok bio. You can see my top 10 rankings, every single position. Let's get back to some of the comments in the YouTube live, in the TikTok live. We got CeeDee Lamb or Jameson Crowder. Come on. I mean, we're going to go CeeDee Lamb there. But I do like Jameson Crowder this week. Crowder or Guyton? Yeah, I would go Crowder over Guyton. Mike Williams is playing, which is a pretty big downgrade for Jalen Guyton. He's still going to be involved more than usual with no Keenan Allen, though. Hill or Stafford? Yeah, I think you probably go with Taysom Hill there. I actually don't have Matt Stafford in my top 10 QBs. I do have Taysom Hill in my top 10 QBs this week. Gage or Higgins? Don't bench T. Higgins. So the Washington football team is without a lot of their defense today, but specifically they've lost like all of their defensive ends. So we have one of the best offensive lines going against really practice squad level defensive ends today, and that's the Cowboys-Washington game. But in the 49ers-Bengals game, we have a similar situation, but with the 49ers cornerbacks. They're without their top two corners today. And so you got to feel really good about Jamar Chase. You got to feel really good about T. Higgins. Both those guys need to be started. You really need to start both of them. Thoughts on DeAndre Hopkins rest of season? Yeah, I think he's a wide receiver 1, Tommy. I think he's a wide receiver 1. He hasn't seen the target share that he's seen in years past, but the touchdowns have been there, man. So really he's a top 15 wide receiver rest of the season. James Conner or Zach Ertz? Yeah, we're not playing Zach Ertz over James Conner. We're not doing that. You don't play 2 tight ends if you don't have to. Life is hard enough. Fantasy football is hard enough. Don't play 2 tight ends. Unless you're playing Dawson Knox over like the Detroit running backs, for example. That was a question someone else asked earlier. Hope you're having a fantastic Sunday. Javonte, Chubb, or Higgins? Javonte, Chubb, or Higgins? Yeah, this one's close too. I like all 3 of these guys. I think I have Javonte ranked ahead of the other 2, though. Melvin Gordon, I believe, is back. I actually don't think we've gotten an official report that Melvin Gordon is playing, but it seems like he's playing. So to me, it's honestly between Javonte and Higgins. Nick Chubb was really shut down by the Ravens in their last game. Do you think Debo's going to have a good game? Yeah, I do. I think you kind of have to play Debo Samuel as well. Bounce back week for James Robinson? I think so, Richard. I think so. I think it's going to be a bounce back week for James Robinson. DraftKings. There is so many values on DraftKings this week. I think you have to be playing Jameson Elite Crowder at his price. I actually think Denzel Mims and Keelan Cole are both pretty good options in tournaments as well. They're priced even lower than Crowder. They're going to be playing on the outside. Crowder will be on the inside. Again, there's no Elijah Moore. There is no Corey Davis this week. At the running back position, I mean, there's so many running backs to like. Antonio Gibson has to be considered. J.D. McKissic's out again this week. I like Saquon Barkley at his price on DraftKings too. He's only priced at $6,000. He's going against the Chargers. They bottom 3 rush defense adjusted for strength of opponent this season. I know it's Mike Glennon. Like Saquon Barkley has kind of a low floor, but the ceiling is still astronomically high for Saquon. I like James Robinson a lot in all contests as well. James Robinson's going to be under 10% rostered on DraftKings and FanDuel this week when he's in line for 20+ touches. He had his best game of the season too. Last time he played the Titans, he had his best game of the season. I think he scored 25 or 30 fantasy points in that game. So yeah, I like James Robinson a lot as well. At quarterback on DraftKings specifically, you're deciding between 2 QBs. Do you want to start Cam Newton against the Falcons, who I think has a higher ceiling but a lower floor than Taysom Hill, who's your other option? Those are the 2 options for me at least. You're starting Cam Newton or Taysom Hill on DraftKings this week. Both are priced, I think, below 6,000. Both could rush for 50+ yards today easily. I actually think the over-under for Taysom Hill's rushing yards is over 40. He rushed for 100 yards last game. The Jets have been really bad against quarterbacks. The Falcons have been really bad against quarterbacks. So I think those are the two options at quarterback. Jacobs or Sony? Yeah, I think you go Jacobs over Sony. It's not a very good matchup for Sony. I still think Sony's a must start in most situations, but I wouldn't play him over Jacobs. I need Kamara to go off. Yeah, Alvin Kamara is probably going to go off. Mark Ingram's not playing this week. Kamara could easily see 25 touches in this game as well, if he's healthy. Any weather concerns? Go. Love the weather report questions. I part-time as a weather reporter on these live streams. We're live on YouTube and TikTok, by the way. And on the YouTube live, you can see my top 10 rankings, every single position, my favorite picks against the spread. The link to the YouTube live is in the TikTok bio. You're like a few presses of your finger away from just a little bit more info. All right, let's pull up the weather report for the day before I get to this question. It looks like we shouldn't be very concerned. We shouldn't be very concerned today. I'm not even seeing any rain. I think the fantasy football gods wanted to give us a little bit of a break after that Bills-Patriots Monday night game. So there's no wind to be concerned about. The windiest game today is actually the Chiefs-Raiders game, but it's only 16-mile-an-hour winds, really nothing to be concerned about. We only get concerned when the wind is over 25 miles an hour. And it doesn't even look like there's any rain or snow expected this week either. So no weather report in this crucial week 14. I'm starting Mooney. Any weather concerns for the Bears games? My other options are Jerry Jeudy. Win, and I'm in the playoffs. No weather concerns in that Bears game. Guys, if you are watching live on YouTube, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. If you're watching live on TikTok too, hit that follow button. We're putting out consistent content, man. Russell Gage or Jerry Jeudy. I've been a pretty big disbeliever in Russell Gage, I think for really like quite some time. And he proved me wrong last week, but I'm still not believing in him. He saw more volume than I expected. He could easily see more volume this week than I expect, but I can't get behind Russell Gage, man. I can't get behind Russell Gage. Hey, Sam, love the apps. Thanks, man. Yeah, guys, if you haven't checked out the WalterPicks app yet in the iOS App Store, coming to Android today. It's coming to Android literally today, so make sure you're looking in the Google Play Store throughout the day. It's coming today to Android. 2 running backs, 1 flex, Zeke, Montgomery, Gibson, Jacobs, Renfro. Yeah, you have to start Zeke and you have to start Gibson. You need to start both those guys this week. There's no way around it. There's no Tony Pollard. There's no J.D. McKissick. You need to start Zeke and Gibson. I know they're playing in the same game too. The rest of the 3 are close though. Montgomery, Jacobs, and Renfro. I like Montgomery this week a lot too. I think I actually have Jacobs in my top 10, but Montgomery's not, which could be a mistake. Let me pull up my top 10 running backs. Yeah, I don't have David Montgomery in there. I do have Josh Jacobs in there. I don't know how I feel about that. I think I would probably go Jacobs, though. That one's not easy. The app is phenomenal. Thanks, man. Would you rather have Kittle or Mark Andrews rest of the season in PPR? It's got to be Kittle. It's got to be Kittle. Yo, Sam, do I start A.J. Dillon, Ayuka the Bazooka, or Jameson Elite Crowder? I honestly think this one's Jameson Crowder. I actually think this one's Jameson Crowder. And I know you can see my top 10 wide receivers on the YouTube live, and you'll see who number 1 is. That's obviously just a joke. But Jameson Crowder is still a good option this week. The Saints have a bottom 5 secondary. And the Jets are without Elijah Moore, and they're without Corey Davis, and they're without Tevin Coleman. Like, they have to give the ball to someone. And Jameson Crowder has to be that someone this week. He's competing with Denzel Mims and Keelan Cole. I actually think Keelan Cole and Denzel Mims, they're not the worst tournament options on DraftKings and FanDuel, but I think you go Jameson Crowder in that situation. Full sub to the app. Jack, thank you so much, man. Seriously. The number one way you can support me and the entire WalterPicks brand is by subscribing to one of the premium subs in the WalterPicks app. So seriously, Jack, thank you. Saquon Barkley or Sony Michel. It's got to be Saquon, man. It's got to be Saquon. I mean, are there 2 polar opposite players? Are there 2 players that are more polar opposites than these 2? You got to go Saquon, man. I get the appeal of Sony. I think Sony's a must start in most situations, but I'm not starting him over Saquon Barkley against the Chargers. Josh Jacobs or D-Hop, yeah, I'd probably go to Josh Jacobs over D-Hop as well. Pick 2, DJ Moore, Van Jefferson, or Ayuka. Yeah, definitely DJ Moore over Ayuk and Van Jefferson this week. DJ Moore's a top 10 wide receiver this week, guys. I know Cam Newton's looked bad. He's been bad. That last game really couldn't have been worse. But I still think you really have to be starting DJ Moore this week. Then I'd probably go Van Jefferson. Hey, Sam, how do 49ers running back look today? I'm not feeling good about either of the 49ers running backs. Before, on Thursday night, I didn't think Debo Samuel was going to play today. He's back earlier than expected. He's playing. I don't think it's 100% confirmed, but it seems like 90% chance Debo Samuel's playing today. And that's not good for Jeff Wilson. And that's definitely not good for Jermichael Hasty. I think Hasty cannot be trusted at all. He really should be sent back to the waiver wire in almost every league. Jeff Wilson still has some upside. Like he could still see 15 carries in this game. But I'm concerned about his touchdown ceiling and any receiving work that he might get. I'm not feeling good about really any of the 49ers running backs. But it's probably going to be Jeff Wilson, Jermichael Hasty, but also Debo Samuel. Sony Michel or DK Metcalf. Yeah, that's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. I think I would go Sony. You starting Sony? Yeah, I'm starting Sony. Again, it's not a good matchup for Sony, but you still kind of have to start. You still have to start. And I said this earlier in the stream, but you should go at his backup as well, because there's a chance he's been in close contact with Darrell Henderson, which could send him to the COVID list. And there's only one other running back on the depth chart for the Rams. Did the survey in the app. Thanks, Liam. Yeah, if you have the WalterPicks app, guys, we have a survey going on right now. You can win a free $100 Amazon gift card just for filling out the survey. So thanks for doing that, Liam. The survey is just us asking questions so we can make the app even better for next season. Chase, Debo, or Patterson at flex. Don't bench Chase. You don't want to bench really any of these guys, but I really think you got to start Chase. The 49ers are without their two top corners in this game. So you have to be starting Jamar Chase. You have to be starting T. Higgins. Sam, how's it going? Also, thoughts on James Robinson. Also, Jameson, Elite Crowder going to go off. I know, Yarjman. Dude, this is the week that I did not know we had in store this season. I really did. I didn't expect this week to come, but here we are. It is Jameson, Elite Crowder week. There's no Elijah Moore. There's no Corey Davis. Jameson Crowder finally healthy. And it's against the Saints, who have a bottom 5 secondary, man. You got to feel good about Jameson, Elite Crowder today. The process is good playing Jameson Crowder. He might not go off, but at least the process is good with him this week. Thoughts on James Robinson, excuse me. I think James Robinson's going to bounce back in this game. I think James Robinson's a really good option on DraftKings and FanDuel this week too, because coming off such a bad performance where he touched the ball a season low 9 times, he's not going to be played by very many people. But I think James Robinson's in line for 20-plus touches. Basically everything that Trevor Lawrence has said and Urban Meyer has said since that game has pointed towards a big game for James Robinson, who had his best game of the season against the Titans, who he's playing today, earlier this year. Sam, Jameson Crowder or Brandon Ayuk? Yeah, I like Jameson Elite Crowder more than Brandon Ayuk of the Bazooka today. Because Debo Samuel is back, you have to ding Ayuk just a little bit. Hey, Sam, good morning. Hope all is well. Should I start Beasley or Laviska Shenault at flex and Van Jefferson or Sterling Shepard as wide receiver 2? Kyler, thanks for tuning in again, man. We got to get you out of last place. This is probably the last week to get you out of last place. And nobody listening to this stream can come in last, man. It's an unwritten rule. I think I would go Beasley over Laviska Shenault. You want pieces of this Bills-Buccaneers game. This Bills-Buccaneers game has one of the highest over-unders of the entire season. Like this game could easily go over 60 points. I think the over-under is like 56.5 or something crazy like that. Van Jefferson versus Sterling Shepard is a much tougher decision. I think I would probably go with Van Jefferson. I just don't know how much Sterling Shepard's actually going to play. Williams or Beckham? Yeah, I'd play Javonte Williams over Odell Beckham. Can you throw your DraftKings lineup on the screen? Yeah, let me pull this up. Actually, I got to type this out really quick. I will pull that up on the YouTube stream, though. But there's really quickly while I'm doing this, there's so many good options in DraftKings this week. Actually, it feels like there's more values on DraftKings than FanDuel this week. Because when you got to start at the quarterback position. And at the quarterback position, you have Taysom Hill and Cam Newton, both priced under 6,000, Both are probably going over 20 fantasy points this week. Both have really good matchups. I like both Taysom Hill and Cam. I think I like Taysom Hill more than Cam in terms of like who I think is going to do better this week. I would say Taysom Hill is going to do better than Cam. But I think Cam is going to be much less rostered on DraftKings, which makes him a better option in tournaments. It does. It makes Cam Newton a better option than Taysom Hill in tournaments because they really are similar. They're similarly projected. They both have good matchups. They both have a really high rushing floor. So I'm going with Cam, and I'm stacking him with DJ Moore in most of my lineups this week. I know that it's more risky. It's more risky than playing Taysom Hill. But if you're playing in tournaments, which I know a lot of you are, you got to take risks. You got to give yourself a chance at first place. Like you need to have a chance at the top prize. Otherwise, you're really just burning money. So that's why I'm playing Cam Newton on DraftKings this week. All right, let me pull this lineup up. I got it in here now. The other guy that I have in almost every single lineup this week is Dawson Knox. You kind of have to have Dawson Knox in your lineup too. This is my favorite tournament lineup that I'm about to share with you on the YouTube Live. Link is in the TikTok bio, by the way, for the YouTube Live. All right, let's pull this up. This is the DraftKings lineup on the YouTube Live right now. I'm going with Cam Newton at QB. Again, this is a tournament lineup. I wouldn't play this lineup in a head-to-head contest. The head-to-head contest, I'd probably take Tyler Lockett out. I'd probably take James Robinson out as well. And I'd probably pay for a cheaper defense as well. But this is what I'm going with on DraftKings this week. I'm going Cam Newton at quarterback. Running back, I'm going with Saquon and James Robinson. Both guys I don't think are going to be rostered very much. And both guys could be top 5 running backs this week. At the wide receiver position, I'm going DJ Moore, Amari Cooper, Jameson, Elite Crowder. Jameson, Elite Crowder, I don't think I need to explain that one again. DJ Moore is going up against the Falcons. I'm stacking him with Cam Newton. And Amari Cooper is also probably not going to be rostered in very many lineups. But he could also lead Dallas in receiving today easily. Good morning, Sam. For James Robinson, Dante Hilliard, or Debo Samuel head-to-head league. Yeah, it's got to be James Robinson, man. It's got to be James Robinson, Zane. Has to be James Robinson here. Mahomes or Brady? Yeah, you're not benching Mahomes. You don't want to bench Brady either, but Mahomes has a better matchup than Brady. Mahomes torched the Raiders the last time they played, guys. He threw like 400 yards. Amari Cooper or Darnell Mooney? Definitely Amari Cooper. Knox or Ty Johnson? I would go Knox over Ty Johnson. I'm nervous for Ty Johnson in this game. Like, Ty Johnson should do well, right? There's no Tevin Coleman. There's also no Elijah Moore. There's no Corey Davis. There's no Michael Carter. I mean, the Jets are really without all of their talent, and they didn't have that much to begin with. And Ty Johnson's going to be the lead back in this game, along with, I think his name is Walter, actually. I forget his first name. But this is not a good matchup. The Saints are the biggest funnel defense in the league. They have the best run defense in the league. They have a bottom 5 pass defense in the league. So, like, you're just forced to throw against the Saints. What are your thoughts on Crowder? Yeah, I think Crowder is a solid wide receiver too this week. I think he goes for 14-plus fantasy points in this game. I think he's a pretty safe floor. I'd be pretty surprised if he doesn't score at least 10. Like, he's going to probably get 10-plus targets. I'd be surprised if Jameson Crowder plays the entire game today and doesn't see at least 10 targets. And again, the Saints secondary is trash, and their run defense is really good. Knox or Pitts? Yeah, I'm going Knox. I'm going Knox over Pitts. I'm going with a lot of tight ends over Pitts this week. The breakout game for Pitts is probably going to come at some point before the season ends. But we got to stop giving him so many chances, man. I mean, in fantasy, this is the last week in the regular season, playoffs next week. I'm going with Travis Kelce, George Kittle, Mark Andrews, Dawson Knox, TJ Hawkinson, and Rob Gronkowski all over Kyle Pitts this week. But other than that, I'm not playing anyone over Kyle Pitts. Julio or Crowder, that one's close too. Julio Jones is a really boom bust option for you this week. But he's back, man. He's back. He's playing. He's obviously at risk of re-injury. He's basically, I think he's played one full game this season, maybe. Like every time he comes back, he he re-injures himself. It's been tough to watch. But the fact that he's coming back is a good sign. And he absolutely has a high. He's played at least 75% of the snaps in only 2 games this season. In those 2 games, he had 35 yards in one of them. He had 128 yards in the other. He's only had 1 game with over 6 targets. But he's probably going to go over 6 targets today. I'm talking about Julio Jones now. Like, the ceiling is there for Julio. I would argue that Jameson Crowder has a safer floor than Julio, but Julio's ceiling should not be ignored. Like, if you need upside, Julio Jones is a good option. He's a pretty good option in tournaments too. Cam Newton or Taysom Hill? Yeah, I like Taysom Hill more than Cam. I like Taysom Hill more than Cam. I have him ranked 1 spot ahead in my quarterback rankings. Again, we're live on YouTube and TikTok. Link to the YouTube stream is in the TikTok bio. Hit that like button and subscribe button, by the way, if you're watching live on YouTube. Takes you 2 seconds. Helps us out a ton. I would pick up Crowder over Gage, definitely. The quarterbacks, Cam Newton and Taysom Hill, they're really close. I think you can really expect similar things out of them this week. They both have really good matchups. I have Taysom Hill projected just ahead of Cam, but I am playing Cam in my DraftKings tournament lineup ahead of Taysom Hill because he's going to be and he's going to just simply be in less rosters. Like, Taysom Hill's going to be a really popular play on DraftKings this week. Crowder or Traquan Smith? Yeah, it's got to be Crowder. It's got to be Crowder. Sony Michel or Jeff Wilson? Definitely Sony Michel. Ayuka the Bazooka or OBJ? That one's super close. I think I'd go OBJ. I don't know. OBJ is definitely riskier. It's definitely riskier. Like, Odell Beckham's another boom bust option for you. I actually think his ceiling's high. I think his ceiling is high. But the Cardinals secondary has been good. The Cardinals secondary has been good. Which last minute wide receiver pickup? Yeah, there's a couple. But the number one is James Crowder. If you really need to dig deep, though, go check out Keelan Cole. Keelan Cole could also do well today against the Saints. The Saints secondary is really bad. And there is no Corey Davis. There's no Elijah Moore. There's no Michael Carter. There's no Tevin Coleman. The Jets, really one of the least talented teams in the league, are somehow without all of their talents. How are we feeling this morning, except for Jameson Crowder, of course? I'm feeling great, man. Wade, it's Jameson Lee Crowder week. It's week 14, the last week of the fantasy football regular season. I'm pumped for the playoffs, man. I'm going to be in the playoffs in only 2 of my 5 high-stakes fantasy leagues. This is a down year for me in my fantasy leagues, but I'm still in the playoffs in 2 of the leagues, and really, every year I just need to win 1, and I got a positive ROI just playing fantasy football. But also, I'm excited, Wade, because I drafted 500 best ball teams, and the best ball playoffs also start next week, and so I finally get to look at those lineups, and a lot of them are moving on. Surprisingly, a lot of them are moving on, and I say surprisingly because I took a super high risk, high fragile strategy in my best ball lineups. I drafted only 3 running backs on most teams. And you think back about how the season went. If you had only 3 running backs on your best ball teams, a lot of them probably cratered. But a lot of mine are still kicking, man. How are we feeling this morning? That's how I'm feeling. Montgomery or Jones? And neither. I don't want either of these guys. I really don't. I would probably say Montgomery, though, over Jones. I'm assuming this means Tony Jones and Ty Montgomery, by the way. Let me know if I think my mind just went to the Saints. But now that I'm reading this again, you probably mean David Montgomery and Julio Jones. Not Ty Montgomery and Tony Jones. Because neither of those guys should be played. Yeah, I would probably go with David Montgomery over Julio Jones. I would go with David Montgomery. He's just way safer. He's way safer. And he does have similar upside. Taysom or Lamar, must-win game. Yeah. Taysom's not a bad option. I refuse to play him over Lamar Jackson. I refuse to do that. I won't do that. You can do it. I think Taysom Hill's a pretty safe play against the Jets. He has a good matchup against the Jets. I refuse to bench Lamar. I feel like I'm becoming in the camp of just backing up Lamar in all situations, which hasn't been a very good place to be over the last month. He's played pretty bad. But I refuse to bench Lamar, man. He's the best rushing quarterback of all time. And rushing is just broken in fantasy. It really is that simple. I don't think you should be benching Lamar for basically anyone. The only 2 quarterbacks I'm playing over Lamar are Patrick Mahomes and Kyler Murray. By the way, take a look at my top 4 QBs this week. These were the top 4 quarterbacks drafted in fantasy. Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. Not much has changed in my mind in terms of the top quarterbacks in fantasy, at least for this week. Hey, Sam, love the app. Thanks, man. Yeah, guys, if you haven't checked out the WalterPicks app yet, the link is in the TikTok bio. The link is in the YouTube description. Just check it out. And we're coming to Android today, so there's no Android excuse anymore. Jarvis Landry or Ayuk the Bazooka. Yeah, every week it feels like it should be a Jarvis Landry week. There's no Odell in Cleveland anymore. It's a good matchup for Jarvis. The Ravens secondary hasn't been good this season. Jarvis Landry also has back-to-back games with at least 14 fantasy points now. And he had 15 points, 111 yards against the Ravens in their last game. Jarvis is a pretty good option. I think you probably go with Jarvis over Ayuk the Bazooka. And you got to downgrade Ayuk the Bazooka just a slightly with Debo Samuel back. I still like Ayuk this week. Like he was doing well with Debo Samuel in the lineup before. But I think this one's actually really close. And I think I would lean towards Jarvis Landry. Wilson, Burrow, or Taysom. Yeah, I'd go Taysom over both those guys. Pollard or Barkley. Yeah, so Tony Pollard isn't playing today. Or it looks, last I read at least, let me update this now. Looks like Pollard's not playing today. Which means you have to start Ezekiel Elliott. You have to start Zeke. I honestly might tinker with my DraftKings lineup a little bit to get Zeke in there. Because his upside is just too high to ignore. Antonio Gibson's upside is also too high to ignore this week with J.D. McKissic out. Zeke and Antonio Gibson are both set to smash in this game. Jameson, Crowder, and Marquise Brown. I feel like you kind of have to go Marquise Brown there. I think I would go Marquise Brown over Jameson. I know Marquise Brown had a bad game last time they played the Browns, but he's been pretty consistent this season. He's been quietly consistent. Like, I feel like the general perception of Marquise Brown is that he's a boomer bust wide receiver. He's really not. He's really not. He's had at least 9 points in all but 2 games. He has not had a game under 7 points this entire season. Not a single game. He's really a high floor, high ceiling option now. I'm not benching Marquise Brown. He had 51 yards last time he played the Browns. He had 10 targets in that game, though. 8 catches. So in a PPR league, you got to be starting Marquise Brown. Lamar or Dak, yeah, I'm not benching Lamar. I'm not benching Lamar. I'm not doing it. Hey, Sam, could you update Julio's projection in the app? Yeah, sure, man. Let me do that. You pull this up. Is he still out? Let me double check. He is still out. Thank you for calling that out. Update. I like doing these updates too live on the stream so I can tell you exactly what Julio Jones' projection is. And I'm interested to see what the 10,000 simulations that we run in the WalterPicks app say his upside is. Because in my mind, Julio Jones, he has a lot of upside in this game. He's really very little target competition. And it looks like the app agrees. Walter agrees with me on this one. Julio Jones is projected for 12.5 points. He's projected for 12.5 points. But he has an 18% chance to score 25 plus, which is pretty high. An 18% chance to score 25 plus points for Julio Jones based on our 10,000 simulations of the week. He's got a 30% chance to score under 10, which isn't great either. But the ceiling is there for Julio, man. I think you can strongly consider him in a lot of situations. I just updated that. So you just refresh the app, and that will be updated. Hollywood or Ayuk? I would go Hollywood Brown over Ayuk. Yeah, 100% I would. Again, I don't think you should be benching Hollywood Brown. Hey, Sam, need help. This win puts me in the playoffs. We got to get in the playoffs, Kevin. That's what it's all about, man. That is what it's all about. All right. If T. Higgins doesn't play, he's going to play. I'm almost positive he's going to play. But if he does, do I start Mooney or Gronk at flex? Mooney worries me. Yeah, Mooney worries me too. Allen Robinson's back this week. Mooney obviously still has a good ceiling. Like, he should see a couple of deep targets in this game. In a game where the Bears are really big underdogs too against the Packers. But I think I'd probably go Gronk over Mooney. But again, I think T. Higgins is going to play. I do. I think T. Higgins is going to play. I'm starting Higgins, so he better play. Yeah, he's going to play. I think he's going to play, and I think he's in a really good spot. T. Higgins has gotten over 100 yards back-to-back games, and he could have another 100-yard game today. The 49ers are without their top two corners. T. Higgins and Jamar Chase have to be started in really every league. Crowder or Ayuk? Yeah, I'm going Crowder over Ayuk. Julio Jones or James Conner at flex? I want to say Julio Jones. I do. I think I would go Julio Jones. Hey, Sam, thanks for the response. But I meant David Montgomery and Aaron Jones. Well, when you originally asked this question, I thought it was Ty Montgomery and Tony Jones. And then I thought it was David Montgomery and Julio Jones. You got to give me first and last names. There's a lot of players in the NFL. But I would go Dave Montgomery, I think, over Aaron Jones also. That one's super close. Obviously, they're playing the same game as well. It's tough to project how much work Aaron Jones is going to get. I think A.J. Dillon has pretty securely taken over the Jamal Williams role from last season for the Packers. Like, he's going to get probably 40% of the total touches. He could get over half the carries, and that lowers Aaron Jones' floor. I think the ceiling is obviously still really high for Aaron Jones. But he could score 3 touchdowns in the game. But I think I like Dave Montgomery more. Julio or Odell, that one's super close too. I think I'd go Julio Jones over Odell. I think Julio Jones, I'm starting to warm up to Julio Jones. Crowder or Amari. Yeah, you got to go Amari Cooper over Crowder. Judy or Crowder, I'd go Crowder over Judy. Do you trust any Lions running backs? Trust is not something that I have for really anyone on the Lions. So no, I don't trust the Detroit Lions running backs. I won't be surprised if one of them ends up doing well. They do pass a lot to their running backs. But I prefer Rashad Penny over Jamar Jefferson. I prefer Rashad Penny over the other running back for the Lions as well. How do you feel about James Robinson today? I feel good about it. I feel good about James Robinson. Is Aaron Jones a good start over Foreman? Yes, you're starting Aaron Jones over Foreman. And then we got a kicker question. Bullock or Butker? I have a thing about kickers. I have a thing about them. I think every second that I spend thinking about kickers is a second that I'm never going to get back in my life. It's just like we got to get rid of kickers in fantasy. I'm very anti-kicker, which might seem weird. I know I come from a soccer background, but I'm very anti-kickers. Every minute we spend thinking about kickers is a minute we're never getting back, guys. And really, just play the kicker on the team that you think is going to score more points. That's the bottom line. Like, it really doesn't. That's the best predictor of kickers. This is why you will not find kickers in the WalterPicks app. Because when we were building the app, I explicitly said to the entire team, every minute we spend thinking about kickers is a wasted minute. And I still feel that way. Just play the kicker on the team that you think is going to score the most points. Or, even better, just remove kickers from your league. Hey, Sam, huge fan. Do you do your player props and DraftKings Lineup? Oh, player props and DraftKings Lineup. Yeah, I got you, Sam. Well, we're on a bit of a hot streak right now with the free player props. I think we've hit 5 of the last 6. And we hit KJ Osborne. He had that one big catch late in the game. That game was wild, by the way. That Thursday night game. I haven't talked about that at all. But KJ Osborne, I think, finished with like 80 yards. His prop was 47.5. And today, somewhat symbolically, this one's actually not in the WalterPicks app. The free prop pick is technically not in the WalterPicks app today. But you got to go take this. You got to go take this one. Again, we're live on TikTok and YouTube. I pulled up the free prop pick on the YouTube live. Link to the YouTube lives in the TikTok bio. But the free prop pick, it has to be this. And I genuinely think this one's going to hit. This isn't just me being a huge Jameson Elite Crowder fan, which I am. But I genuinely think he goes over 50 yards. I think he goes over 50 yards. Like, this is just too low of a prop. Again, the Saints secondary has been really bad this season. They've been really bad, inconsistently bad. It's not like they just let up a few big games. They've been consistently torched in their secondary. I don't feel good about the Jets, right? Like the Jets could crater in this game. The Jets might struggle to get first downs. But if Jameson Crowder plays the whole game, I think he has a very good chance at 10 plus targets. And if that happens, I mean, this prop's just way too low. So the free prop pick, Jameson Crowder over 49.5 receiving yards. We're going to keep the hot streak going. But I also have my DraftKings lineup here as well. You'll see Jameson Crowder's in there as well. I actually might tinker with this lineup a little bit after the stream with the running backs. I think you like Ezekiel Elliott and Antonio Gibson are also both really good options now. I went with Saquon and James Robinson just because I think in a tournament they're not going to be in many lineups. And I think both those guys have top 5 ceiling. What would you rank Sony? Yeah, I think Sony's a top 20 running back. He's not in my top 10. He's definitely top 20 though. Because he could see 20 touches. Like he's probably going to see 20 touches. Sony Michel should be started in most situations. The only guys that I'd be starting ahead of Sony Michel really are in this top 10 list on the YouTube Live. And these ones should be kind of obvious. But other than that, like I think you should probably be starting Sony Michel. Lockett or Crowder. Yeah, I think you have to go Lockett over Crowder. David Montgomery or Henderson. If you're talking about Darrell Henderson, he's out. He's on the COVID list. He's out. So David Montgomery. Taysom Hill or Drew. I love you. Thanks, Drew. Love you too, man. Taysom Hill or Ryan Tannehill this week. Yeah, I think you go Taysom. I need to bench one. Alvin Kamara, Antonio Gibson, Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, DJ Moore, CeeDee Lamb. You can't bench Alvin Kamara, and you can't bench Antonio Gibson. You can't bench CeeDee Lamb or DJ Moore either, and you don't want to bench. I would probably bench Mixon. out of these guys. I won't feel good about it. D-Hop or Crowder? Yeah, Levy, I think you go D-Hop over Crowder. LMAO 2-team league. Yeah, I know. Some people are just in small leagues. Sony or Cook? I'm assuming you mean Cooks. Dalvin Cook already played. When are you coming to Android? I would play Sony over Cooks, by the way. Juan, today is the day, man. Today is the day. Android is coming today. This is not a drill. I don't know the exact time. We have to get approved by the Play Store, and that's really on their timeline, not ours, but it's coming today. It's coming today. So search the Play Store throughout the day. It's coming. We'll definitely post a TikTok about it, and we'll tweet about it as well once we're officially in there. But the beta version of the WalterPicks app is coming to the Play Store today, man. Today's the day. This is why it's a great day. It's Jameson Lee Crowder Day. It's Android Day. It's week 14, the last week of the regular season today. This is just an amazing day. It's an amazing day, man. Sony or J-Rob? Yeah, I'm playing James Robinson, I think, over Sony. This one's tough. This one's really close. And I understand the concern around James Robinson, but I really think he's bouncing back in this game. Again, he had his best game of the season against the Titans earlier this season. And the Titans have actually been good against running backs this year, so I don't necessarily think it's a great matchup, but he did have his best game of the season against the Titans. His best fantasy day, his second best fantasy day. He scored a touchdown. He had 147 total yards, 18 carries, 1 catch, 19 total touches the last time he played the Titans. That's pretty good. I think I would go James Robinson. In a standard league versus Chris Godwin, I think I'd go Robinson too. Standard league, like running backs are really just so much better than receivers. We got an Amir Abdullah or Dontrell Hilliard question. And Ben, I'm in a league and I'm fighting to not come in last place in this league. And it's like a 5-way battle. And I had Christian McCaffrey in this league, RIP. And so I had to make some tough running back decisions. And originally I had Jermichael Hasty starting. But now that Debo Samuel's back, I want nothing to do with Jermichael Hasty. So he's back on the waiver wire now. I thought about Dontrell Hilliard. But Jeremy Mcnichols is back this week. So you can't feel very good about Hilliard either. Like, Hilliard could score 0 points. Like, he probably won't, but he could. Amir Abdullah, I think there's actual upside for Amir Abdullah. I think that people in general are overestimating how much work Chuba Hubbard's going to get. Like, if there's one under that I like this week, it's probably all of Chuba Hubbard's unders. I don't feel great about them because the matchup is good. But Hubbard's played Hubbard. Is it Hubbard or Hubbard? I go back and forth. I think it's Chuba Hubbard. But Chuba Hubbard's played significantly less than Amir Abdullah in the last 2 games. He's played. He hasn't played more than 15% of the snaps in the last 2 games. Meanwhile, Amir Abdullah played 40% of the snaps last week, or in their last game. They had a bye last week. Like, I think it's more likely Amir Abdullah outtouches Chuba Hubbard than it is Chuba Hubbard outtouches Amir Abdullah. Obviously, I'm speculating a little bit. We don't know for sure. And Chuba Hubbard was the guy that started the last time CMC was hurt, which is why everyone's assuming it's going to be him again this time. But really, he's been playing behind Amir Abdullah for kind of the last month. That being said, there's another running back I like more than Amir Abdullah, and it's Rashad Penny. I think Rashad Penny is the best of these like dart throw running backs that I had to decide between because I have Amir Abdullah on this team too. So I'm deciding between Amir Abdullah, Jamichael Hasty, a lot of these guys, and I landed on Rashad Penny because Rashad Penny has the best matchup of them all. Rashad Penny gets the Houston Texans, the stone cold worst running defense in the league, allowing over 125 rushing yards per game. They've been really torched on the ground almost every single game. The Seahawks want to run the ball. And there's another ambiguous backfield right there is Alex Collins versus Rashad Penny. But we know Rashad Penny's going to see at least half the work. Like, he's going to get a chance in this game. And if he plays well, they'll continue to feed him. I think Rashad Penny has a high ceiling. Obviously, all of these guys have low floors. And so really, to me, it comes down to the ceiling. I would argue Amir Abdullah has a high ceiling too, though, in a PPR league especially. The Falcons defense is also not good against running. There you go. That's my thoughts, Ben. I would not play Hilliard, though. I really don't want anything to do with Hilliard. Hilliard, McKissick, Hunt, Michelle, Chuba Hubbard, pick 2. Yeah, again, we're not starting Hilliard. We're not starting McKissick. He's not playing today. So, I mean, it's Hunt and Michelle here. I really don't want to start Chuba Hubbard this week either. I really think he's a trap. I think Chuba Hubbard's the biggest trap of the week. Stafford or Taysom? App saying Stafford by a tiny bit. Yeah, I think Taysom. I think Taysom over Stafford. Also, what tight end should I stream? I am out at tight end this week because of buys. The tight end landscape is just so bleak. Like, there's really not very many good options for you. So let me pull up some tight ends. Let me pull up my top 10, by the way. My top 10 tight ends you can see on the YouTube Live. You can see all my top 10 rankings on the YouTube Live. Link to the YouTube Live is in the TikTok bio. You can also see my favorite picks against the spread on the YouTube Live. But these top 10 tight ends probably aren't available for you. I would go see if Austin Hooper's available. He might be available in some leagues still. All of the Browns tight ends are out. There's a lot of COVID in the NFL right now, by the way. A lot. Pretty big implications on the games today. The Washington football teams without basically all of their defensive ends against one of the best offensive lines in the league. I think Washington gets absolutely smoked today. We have the 49ers without their 2 top corners because of COVID. Against the Bengals. The Bengals passing attack is really set up for a massive day in what was otherwise not going to be a very good matchup for them. Back to the tight end question, though. Ricky Seals-Jones. Ricky Seals-Jones is the option, man. He's available, I think, in 90% of leagues. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. He's available in 80% of leagues. Go ahead, Ricky Seals-Jones. He's going to be an every down player for Washington today. The Cowboys haven't been very good against tight ends this season. And again, I also think Dallas is going to put up a lot of points against Washington today. They're gonna be able to move the ball against this defense. And that's good news for the passing attack of Washington. Jeff Wilson or Kareem Hunt full PPR. Yeah, I'm nervous about Jeff Wilson. I think Debo Samuel being back hurts Jeff Wilson more than it hurts Brandon Ayuk. Do I trade Keenan Allen for T. Higgins? Yeah, I think you do. T. Higgins is playing this week. Keenan Allen's not. And if that's going to help you get into the playoffs, then you really have to. Brady or Dak? I'd probably go Brady. Good morning. Gave a 5-star review. Nicole. Thank you. Thank you. 5-star reviews in the App Store. Help us out a ton. Really do appreciate that for the WalterPicks app. Debo Samuel, David Montgomery, Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's so tough to trust in this game. Like you want to trust Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is still arguably the most efficient running back in the league. But Kareem Hunt is back. He gets a tough matchup against the Ravens, who are much worse in the secondary than they are against the run. And he put up a dud against the Ravens in the last game. He scored 6 points against them. 15 carries, only 39 yards. Sorry, 8 carries, only 39 yards. So I think you bench him in this scenario. I think you play Debo Samuel over him. What do you think about the Lions running back situation? Yeah, I think that it's something that I'm not trusting either of the guys. I think that I like Jamar Jefferson a little bit more than his counterpart, but like it's just tough for me to get behind either of them. In a PPR league, Jamar Jefferson's much worse because he's probably not going to be the receiving back. And the Lions do throw to their running backs a lot. Like DeAndre Swift, I think, leads the league in receiving yards per game. And he's up there in receptions per game too. Thoughts on Van Jefferson? Yeah, he's really the definition of a boomer bust option. That's what he is. And I'm nervous that people are getting ahead of themselves with Van Jefferson. I think that the ceiling is high, but the floor is low. The floor is low for Van Jefferson. Guys, we're live on YouTube and TikTok right now. If you're live on TikTok, the link to the YouTube stream is in the bio. Lockett or Terry McLaurin. Yeah, I would probably go McLaurin. Sam, please answer Saquon, CD, or Javonte. I think I would Saquon, CD, and Javonte. You really want to start all those guys. I think you have to start CD Lamb. I'd probably go Saquon over Javonte still. I would go Saquon over Javonte. Crowder or MVS? Yeah, I'm going Crowder over MVS. What's your favorite player prop of the week? I'll throw 100. I like Crowder. Over 49.5 receiving yards. But we have 10 player props available for you in the WalterPicks app. If you're going to throw 100, just go start your free trial in the WalterPicks app on the iOS App Store. The link is in the TikTok bio or the YouTube description. We have 10 props in there. We've had 63% or 64% accuracy over the last 3 years. And there's 10 props in there. So just go check those out and choose your favorite one. But the one I like that's actually not in the app is Crowder over 49.5 receiving yards. I think he goes for at least 50 yards today. Thoughts on Melvin Gordon? Yeah, he's not someone that I'm going to be starting with confidence. Can I start Jeff Wilson confidently? No, not confidently. You can start him. And I think he's going to lead the backfield in carries. But with Debo Samuel back, that is a knock on Jeff Wilson. We starting Julio? Yeah, we're starting Julio. Walter, it's intense. Javonte Williams or Mike Evans? Yeah, that one's close. I would probably go Javonte Williams over Mike Evans too. And by the way, classic mistake. My name's not Walter. My name's Sam. Walter's the artificially intelligent algorithm I helped build that powers the WalterPicks app that's in the iOS App Store. Thoughts on James Robinson? Yeah, I think James Robinson has a massive bounce back day today. Sup, Sam? Well, what's up, Lyle? Need a W to make the playoffs. All right, let's get in there, man. We got to get into the playoffs. Pick one from Noah Fant, Austin Hooper, Evan Ingram, Marquis Seals-Jones. Yeah, I think it's Hooper. I think it's Hooper over Seals-Jones. I don't want anything to do with Noah Fant or Evan Ingram. Then please pick three from Hilliard, Sony, Clyde, Monty. Yeah, you bench Hilliard. You bench Hilliard 100% there. Bench Hilliard, and I would probably go with Austin Hooper. Austin Hooper is going to be an every down tight end for the Browns in this game, and there's just no other tight ends on the team this week. On a team that run, like they really use tight ends a lot. Chris Godwin or Hunter Renfrow, it's got to be Godwin. It's got to be Godwin. After last week, it's got to be Godwin. Cooks, Julio, or Gallup. I'm going Julio Jones over Brandon Cooks, over Michael Gallup. I am. I think Julio's a better option. I don't want to be starting Chuba Hubbard either. I see someone in the TikTok live. I'd go Julio over Chuba Hubbard as well. Julio does have an interesting ceiling today. He does. Like the ceiling's there. Of the 10,000 simulations that Walter ran against the spread, let me pull that up, give Julio Jones a 18% chance to score 25 plus points. That's pretty good. I like Julio Jones. I think Deontay Foreman also, like, this is a good matchup for him against the Jaguars. I'd argue he's a safer floor than Julio Jones. But I think I would go Julio over him too. Julio versus Jameson Crowder is a close one. Again, I think Julio has a higher ceiling. I think Crowder has the better floor, though. Like I'm playing Crowder over Julio Jones. Thoughts on James Conner? Yeah, I mean James Conner takes a ding with Chase Edmonds back. That's just the bottom line. He's not as good of an option with Chase Edmonds back, but he still has really high touchdown upside. So he's still a solid running back too. Mike Williams or Tyler Lockett? Yeah, I would probably go. I'd probably go Lockett. I think I would go Lockett over Mike Williams, but it's definitely close. Need to make the playoffs, 6-6. Javonte Monty, I'm assuming you mean Amir Abdullah. I could be wrong. Or one of the 49ers backs, pick 2. Yeah, it's got to be the first 2. Definitely the first 2. You got to be starting Javonte and Monty. I agree with the app there. I'm glad that's what the app said. Mooney or Hunt? I would probably go with Mooney over Hunt. I'm not feeling very good about Kareem Hunt in this game. Thoughts on D-Hop? Yeah, I think DeAndre Hopkins is a top 20 wide receiver, and he should be started in most leagues. So I got my picks against the spread up on the screen right now. I want to talk through some of them. The Raiders are 9.5-point underdogs versus the Chiefs. It's just too many points for me in that game. I think the Raiders have a realistic chance to be in that game, though I also don't like betting against the Chiefs. Mahomes threw for 400 yards last time he played the Raiders. The Saints favored over the Jets. The Jets are without all of their talent except for this guy behind me on the TikTok live, Jameson Elite Crowder. They're without Tevin Coleman. They're without Michael Carter. They're without Corey Davis. They're without Elijah Moore. They have Zach Wilson playing today. Their offensive line's a bottom 5 offensive line in the league. The Saints defense, the defensive line is really good. This is not a good matchup for the Jets, but the Saints secondary is bad. But I still think the Saints beat the Jets by more than 5. I think the Titans absolutely demolish the Jaguars in this game as well. The Ravens are +3 versus the Browns. The Ravens just beat the Browns, and Lamar threw 4 interceptions. Why are the Ravens underdogs in this game? I know that they're coming off a tough loss against Pittsburgh. The Ravens are better than the Browns, though. The Ravens are absolutely better than the Browns. The Browns' defense is better than the Ravens' defense, but the Ravens' defense is built well to handle the Browns. It is. Like they just have a much better run defense than pass defense. And that's not good for the Browns. I think the Ravens beat the Browns today. That's a really big game in that division. I think the Panthers will beat the Falcons. I'm scared how much faith I have in Cam Newton this week. I'm playing him in my DraftKings lineup. I'm playing him in one of my season-long leagues that I need to make the playoffs in. And I'm taking the Panthers to beat the Falcons. But my favorite pick of the day is the Cowboys versus Washington. I imagine the spread has moved since I looked at it, which was Thursday night. But the Cowboys should be 7-point favorites against Washington today. And anything below that, I'm taking. It's my favorite play of the day. Again, Washington's without all of their defensive ends. They're going to be playing practice squad level defensive linemen in this game and defensive ends in this game against one of the best offensive lines in the league. I think Dallas could destroy Washington in this game. Traquan Smith or Rashad Penny. I like Penny more than Traquan Smith. You can't trust any of the Saints receivers. I think Rashad Penny is a very interesting deep sleeper this week in a really good matchup. I'll always tune in, even if I'm in last. Thanks, man. I got Penny and bench Jamar Jeff. Pick one, Tannehill, Carr, or Russ. Yeah, I like Penny more than Jamar Jefferson. Tannehill, Carr versus and Russ. They're all really similar options for me. Tannehill gets the Jaguars. Derek Carr gets the Chiefs. Russell Wilson is up against the Texans. I don't think you can play Russell Wilson with a ton of confidence, though. The Texans secondary has been weirdly good against quarterbacks. They've been really bad against the run, though, and that's probably part of it. Teams just run all day on them. So I think Tannehill is an interesting option against the Jaguars. I think Derek Carr is an interesting option, too. Personally, I'd probably go Tanny, though. Isn't Julio wide receiver 1 this week? He's not a top 12 wide receiver. That's what you mean? But, yeah, I do think Julio Jones has upside this week, and he is the wide receiver 1 for the Titans. Am I crazy for going MVS over Judy for the upside full PPR in a win or go home game? I don't think you're crazy. I wouldn't do that, but I don't think you're crazy. DJ Moore or Mike Williams? Yeah, I like DJ Moore more than Mike Williams. Someone asked for the top 10 QBs on the YouTube Live. Again, link to the YouTube Live's in the TikTok bio. Must win today, Julio or DJ Moore? It's got to be DJ Moore. Hey, Sam, Gage, Gallup, or Hilliard? Again, I don't want anything to do with Hilliard in this week. Like, no thank you to Dontrell Hilliard. So I think I would probably go with Gage. Gallup is interesting too, but I think Gage is better than Gallup this week. Gallup has a really low floor. Appreciate the streams, man. D-Hop or CEH at flex. I have Tyreek and Mahomes already. Yeah, you got to go D-Hop over CEH then. Julio or Mike Williams? I'd go Mike Williams over Julio. Guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. I do appreciate it. Free prop pick. The free prop pick today is Jameson Elite Crowder over 49.5 receiving yards. There's no Corey Davis. There's no Elijah Moore. The Saints secondary is bottom 5 in the league. Don't overthink this one. Julio or Walter? Definitely Julio. Definitely Julio. Hey, Sam, pick 2. Herbert, Heineke, Bridgewater, PPR. Yeah, I think I would go Herbert over Heineke and Bridgewater. Have a great day. Thanks, man. You too. It's a great day to have a day. It's the Jameson Elite Crowder day. It's week 14 of the NFL. A lot of good games on the slate today. Android is launching today. The Patriots are on bye today as well, so they're going to end this week atop of the AFC. Jameson Elite Crowder or Sony Michel at flex. Yeah, I'd go Sony over Jameson Crowder. I would go Sony over Jameson Crowder. Lockett or Metcalf? I like Lockett Jack more, but like this one's obviously really close. But I like Lockett more than Metcalf. I think Lockett has a higher ceiling than Metcalf. Metcalf's also just dealing with injuries. Burkhead or Penny? It's a rough out here. Yeah, it's definitely Penny over Burkhead. David Johnson's back. You can't trust Rex Burkhead this week. It has to be Rashad Penny. And honestly, I think that Rashad Penny could have a really big game. I think the ceiling for Rashad Penny is high against the Texans, the worst run defense in the league. I like Rashad Penny's ceiling. Like Rashad Penny, if he plays well in the beginning of the game, which is not a guarantee, but if he plays well in the beginning of the game, Rashad Penny could see 15 plus carries against the worst run defense in the league. So yeah, I like Penny. Lockett or Metcalf? Yeah, again, I would go Lockett there. Jameson Crowder or Debo Samuel coming off an injury? Yeah, it has to be Debo Samuel. You got to play Debo. Like you really have to play. I know he's coming off an injury, so there's some increased risk, but you have to be playing Debo Samuel. Guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, I really do appreciate you hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button. It helps out a ton. Really, it helps us out a ton. It takes you like 2 seconds. Hey, Sam. Hey, Sam. How's it going? Ayuk, D-Hop, Landry, Gallup, or Crowder? Yeah, I think I would go D-Hop. I think I would go DeAndre Hopkins, then Crowder, then Ayuk. Maybe Landry over Ayuk as well. I still think Ayuk has a good like ceiling in this game, but I am a little bit nervous about his floor. Is TJ Hawkinson out? I think he is out. Let me pull this up. TJ Hawkinson. Yep, he's out. Doubtful. He is out. I think I still have him in my top 10 tight ends. That was next. Take him out of there. Yeah, TJ Hawkinson is out. And the backup tight end for the Detroit Lions is Brock Wright, who I'm sure all of us have heard of. Brock Wright. So DeAndre Swift is out for the Lions. Jamal Williams is out for the Lions. So it's going to be Jamar Jefferson and Godwin Igwebuike. But TJ Hawkinson's also out. Like we have some of the least talented teams in the league today are without all of their talent somehow. The Lions, no DeAndre Swift, no Jamal Williams, no TJ Hawkinson. Those are the 3 most talented players on their offense. So if you're looking for a super deep tight end, Brock Wright is your guy. And honestly, on DraftKings and FanDuel, he's probably minimum priced. Like he's not a horrible dart throw. It's going to be Josh Reynolds, Khalif Raymond, and Amon-Ra St. Brown for the Lions this week. And it's going to be Jameson Crowder, Keelan Cole, and Denzel Mims for the Jets. Cam or Lamar for today. Yeah, I'm not benching Lamar. Really, I'm never going to be recommending you bench Lamar. At least not in the foreseeable future. If you want someone to tell you to bench Lamar, you're on the wrong stream. Thoughts on the Bucs offense today, specifically Brady, Fournette, and Gronk? Yeah, Jared. that game is so massive. And I think the Bucs offense will do well. Like, I'm not going to bet against the Bucs offense, but I generally am just interested to see how the Bills defense does. We haven't seen what the Bills defense will look like without Tre'Davious White yet, because I'm just not counting that game, their last game, as a real game. Not that it wasn't a real game, but as a real game to help us predict the future, not a real game, if that makes sense. Like, that game was so unique that it just doesn't help us predict the next games. So you just got to delete that game from your memory. And so we really haven't seen the Bills play in a real game without Tre'Davious White. So I think the Bucs offense could do really well. But it'll be really interesting to see how the Bills defense stands up against the Bucs. But yeah, that game's going to be massively high scoring. It has one of the highest over-unders of the entire season. And they could easily go over 60 total points in that game. And so, yeah, I think Brady's a great option. I think I like Dawson Knox a lot. I like Stephon Diggs, who's, I think, a top 3 receiver for me this week. You got to trust Godwin. You got to really feel good about Gronk as well. And it's not a good matchup for Leonard Fournette. But the Bills, I know, again, last game, you got to take with a massive grain of salt in terms of how it can help us predict future games. But even the game before that, the Bills got just dominated on the ground by Jonathan Taylor. Like, Leonard Fournette has still a really high ceiling in this game. And he's definitely a top 10 running back. Saints defensive end Cam Jordan is going to miss his first career game because he's on the COVID list. I think the Cowboys are going to destroy Washington today, guys. They're without so many of their defensive linemen and defensive ends. They're literally playing practice squad defensive ends against one of the best offensive lines in the league. This would be an absolutely abysmal loss for the Cowboys. If the Cowboys lose this game, I mean, really, they have not deserved any of the hype that they've gotten over the last really 3 years. Like, they need to win this game. They're so much more talented than Washington. Who's winning, Jets or Saints? It's the Saints. It's going to be the Saints. Like, if the Jets pull off a win, I'll be really impressed. And the Saints also don't have much talent. But, and I try to remind people of this every week. Like, the Saints are one of the least talented teams in the league. It's been impressive how well they've done, given how little talent they have. But this is a game where the Saints are more talented than the other team. And so they're just going to – they're likely going to destroy the Jets. This is one of the few games that the Saints are more talented than the team that they're playing against. And – they've been able to beat teams more talented than them this season. Really, the only game that you could argue that the Saints were more talented as a roster than the team that they were playing against this season was back in week 4 against the Giants, and they actually lost that game. But I think even the Giants have more talent on their team, definitely back then too, than the Saints do. But Alvin Kamara's back too, which should help. The Saints have lost 6 straight games. 5 straight games. They beat the Buccaneers and then they lost 5 straight games. Yeah, but I think the Saints snapped that streak today. I think they beat the Jets. Julio or Gallup? Yeah, I would go Julio Jones over Gallup. That's W's, man. Congrats. One every semester goes faster, by the way, in college. That's just a fact. Julio or Gallup it's got to be Julio, man. It's got to be Julio. Gallup has a really low floor with Amari Cooper back. Lamar or Allen, 10-man league. I have Lamar one spot ahead of Josh Allen in my QB rankings. I think this one's really close, though. Like, I wouldn't knock you for going Josh Allen. I would argue Josh Allen has a higher ceiling, but a lower floor. Lamar Jackson's floor is just so safe with his rushing. But the ceiling for Josh Allen's 4 touchdowns, 300 yards, and some rushing on top of that. So if you're going for the ceiling, you go with Josh Allen. If you're going for the floor, you go with Lamar. My brother, I'm stuck. Shepard or Scantling. Yeah, that one's not easy. And the WalterPicks app will definitely help you with that one. The link is in the TikTok bio. It gives you the most accurate projections that exist. It gives you boom and bust probabilities so you can get an accurate assessment of upside and downside for a player. But personally, I think I would go Scantling. Jameson, Crowder, Sony Michel. Yeah, you got to go Sony. Bro, who do I start? Bro, what's your start sit decision? I don't know your team, but the WalterPicks app could answer or help you answer your start decision as well. Mike Evans or DeAndre Hopkins? Yeah, I think you got kind of have to go Mike Evans over DeAndre Hopkins. Sam, please help. Must-win game. Hunt, Hilliard, or Gage. Don't play Hilliard. The risk is really high with Hilliard. Again, I'm almost positive Jeremy Mcnichols is back. Let me pull this up. CEH or Sony Michel? I would go Sony Michel over CEH as well. I like CEH. It's a good matchup for CEH, but Sony Michel is just in for too big of a workload. And CEH is splitting half the work with Darrell Williams. By the way, I don't know if you guys saw the report. Derrick Henry is close to returning. Yeah, Jeremy Mcnichols is back this week. And he was playing ahead of Hilliard before he got hurt. So there's definitely a chance he plays ahead of him this week. Like, probably not. But he could, even if he steals some of the work, Hilliard becomes really a guy you just cannot start. You just cannot start. With Julio Jones back as well, there's just less targets to go around. I don't feel good about Hilliard at all. But yeah, Derrick Henry's close to returning. And if the Titans make the playoffs, he's going to be back. And it sounds like he could be back even before that. Like, Derrick Henry could come back. Derrick Henry could come back and get the Titans into the playoffs. That'd be absolutely amazing. Zeke or Freeman? Yeah, Zeke. You have to play Zeke. You need to play Zeke today. There's no Tony Pollard. You got to be playing Zeke. Montgomery or Michelle? I'd probably go Montgomery over Michelle. Sam, help. I can clinch fourth place with a win. Chuba Hubbard or Jarvis Landry? It's got to be Jarvis, man. Chuba Hubbard is the trap of the week. He's the biggest trap of the week. He is. Because he's been playing behind Amir Abdullah for the last 3 games. And everyone's assuming he's going to be starting over Amir Abdullah. I'm not so sure he's going to get more touches than Amir Abdullah. Who gets more points, Hilliard or Renfro? Definitely Renfro. You think I'm going to make the playoffs in 7-6 and versus someone that's not good? Yeah, Birdie. I think you can make playoffs. Jay Costello. This is a new one. We've got new nicknames every week. Javonte Williams, D-Hop, Chubb, T. Higgins. I feel like you got to bench Chubb here. Like, I think Nick Chubb's the guy to bench. And I don't feel good about benching Nick Chubb. He could easily have a big game in any matchup. But Kareem Hunt is back, and he got really dominated by the Ravens in their last game. Abdullah, Emmanuel Sanders, or Gallup? Yeah, I'm playing Gallup and Sanders, I think, over Abdullah. But I do think Abdullah, like, if you are in desperate need for a running back, I like Rashad Penny the most. But after that, I think I like Abdullah as like a really high upside play in an ambiguous backfield. Someone asked for the DraftKings lineup. This is the tournament DraftKings lineup I'm riding with on DraftKings, though I might tinker with it a little bit after the live stream. I want to get Zeke in there, and I want to get Antonio Gibson in there too. But these running backs that I have in there are obviously risky. Saquon and James Robinson, both risky, but both to me have top 5 running back upside this week, and they're both going to be in very few lineups. And that's what you want in tournaments. I would not ride this lineup in a head-to-head contest, though. In a head-to-head contest, I would be going Taysom Hill over Cam Newton. But in a tournament, I'm going Cam Newton over Taysom Hill because he's going to be in less of my opponent's rosters. And that matters in tournaments. You want high upside players that you don't think a lot of other people will play. That's the general tournament strategy because you want a chance at first place. Some other guys that you should be considering in tournaments, I think Amir Abdullah is one of them. I think Rashad Penny is one of them. I think Keelan Cole and Denzel Mims, 2 guys that you could consider in tournaments. And then also Bright Block, or Bright, I think it was Right Block, the tight end for the Lions, because TJ Hawkinson's out. Like, one of those guys, if you got to have some luck to win a tournament, right? So you want to play guys that if this guy goes off, I could win the top prize, and not many other people will have this player. And those are some players that I think are a few that you could consider. Crowder or David Montgomery? I would go David Montgomery over Crowder. Crowder's the free prop pick today. I think he goes for at least 10 points, but I think David Montgomery is just in general a better play. Amari Cooper or Terry McLaurin? Yeah, that one's close too. I like McLaurin a lot against the Cowboys. I think that game, I think the Cowboys are going to score a lot of points. I like Amari Cooper against Washington too, though. I would probably go with Cooper. I think I would go with Cooper over McLaurin. But that one's really close. Herbert or Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers gets the Bears. Herbert is against the Giants. I actually have Herbert one spot ahead of Aaron Rodgers. That one's super close too. I would probably go Herbert, though. I know that he's without Keenan Allen, but the Giants' defense doesn't scare me. The Bears' defense also doesn't scare me. I would argue Rodgers has a higher ceiling than Herbert, though, this week. OBJ or Terry? Yeah, it's got to be Terry over OBJ. Hey, Sam, Noah Fant or Austin Hooper? Yeah, I'd go Hooper over Noah Fant. I have Hooper ranked pretty high this week. He's my number 9 tight end. Noah Fant's not even in my top 10. Pick 2, Mooney, Gage, MVS, or Emmanuel Sanders. I think I would go with Gage and MVS there. Beasley or Shepard, flex PPR. Also, is Hilliard to start? No, Hilliard's not a start. Hilliard's not a start. Why? Where is this Hilliard love coming from? I really I have no expectation for Dontrell Hilliard today. Jeremy Mcnichols is back. Julio Jones is back. Deontay Foreman's the starting running back. I don't think he's a start. I really don't think he's a start. And I guess the love's coming. He's played 50% of the snaps. He did have 12 carries in their last game against the Pats, and he played well against the Pats. He's had over 80 yards in back-to-back games. So that's where the love's coming from. He's had over 15 points in back-to-back games. This is where the love's coming from for Dontrell Hilliard. So, I mean, it's reasonable to expect he has the role ahead of Jeremy McNichols now. I still don't like him this week. I really don't. Need to get in. Who do I play? Clyde, AJ Dillon, or Landry at flex? I think it's Clyde over AJ Dillon and over Landry. But I would be playing Beasley over Shepard, Aiden. I would play Beasley over Shepard. You want pieces of this Bills-Buccaneers game. Very important question from Jacob. Terry McLaurin or Hollywood Brown? Yeah, that one's close. I think you go Hollywood Brown, though. Again, Jamal Williams is out. Yeah, I know Jamal Williams is out. I think you're helping someone else in the comments. Yeah, Jamal Williams is out. But Hollywood Brown's not a boomer bust receiver. A lot of people think he is. He's not. He's had over 7 points in every game. He's only got under 10, I think, twice this entire season. He had 10 targets last time he played the Browns. Like, you kind of have to be playing Marquis Brown. D-Hop or Mike Evans? I go Mike Evans over D-Hop. Sony Michel is a guy that you really want to start. Julio or Judy? I like Julio a little bit more than Judy. Ty Johnson or Jamar? I'm nervous for Ty Johnson, man. The Saints' run defense is no joke. They are the best run defense in the league. So Ty Johnson in a PPR league, he should be involved somewhat in the passing attack, but it's a no for Ty Johnson for me. And really, I'm not very excited about Jamar Jefferson either. Chubb or Javonte Williams? I'd go Javonte Williams. Must-win game. I need help. Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon, Deontay Foreman, or Crowder. Pick one. It's got to be Aaron Jones. You have to play Aaron Jones over AJ Dillon. The Quadzilla, one of my favorite, if not my favorite player in the league. But you just can't be playing him over Aaron Jones. What are the best wide receiver free agents for today? There's a few. I think that Jameson Crowder should be added and started if he's available. He's probably not available in your league at this point. But Keelan Cole is also a pretty interesting deep dart throw that is available in almost every league. Because he could easily lead the Jets in receiving today, too. And again, the Saints secondary is really bad. Hey, Sam, 5-star review in the App Store. Thanks, man. J-Rob, Chuba Hubbard, Jeff Wilson. Yeah, it's got to be James Robinson over Chuba Hubbard and Jeff Wilson. Hubbard versus Jeff Wilson is close for me. I'm nervous about Chuba Hubbard. I think he's the biggest trap of the week. I think he is the biggest trap of the week. I'm not convinced he's going to get more touches than Amir Abdullah. Because you just look at the most recent games, and he didn't get more touches than Amir Abdullah in the most recent games. So why is everyone assuming he's going to get more touches than Amir Abdullah all of a sudden? And they're assuming that because that's what happened the last time McCaffrey got hurt But I think things have changed a little bit since then. So yeah, I'm not starting Chuba Hubbard. I think he's a massive trap. But he does have a good matchup. So at least he has that going for him. Bench 1, Crowder, Javonte, Gage, Foreman, full PPR. Yeah, I'm benching Gage. Foreman is also in contention for benching here in a PPR league. I would argue Gage's ceiling is much higher than Foreman's. So I think you could bench Foreman too if you're going for the ceiling. If you're going for the floor, though, Foreman does have a pretty good ceiling. Sam had a hot start. Cook and Freemuth did well. Loved that. Need to go win to get in. Aaron Jones, Javonte, McLaurin. Yeah. If you had Dalvin Cook, you absolutely need to be winning this week. And by the way, I haven't mentioned it at all. I don't take very many victory laps on these live streams, but there was a lot of people deciding between Dalvin Cook and Alexander Mattison on Thursday night, and I did not overthink that one, man. That one we just did not overthink. It had to be Dalvin Cook over Mattison. I'm glad everyone that tuned in did that. Aaron Jones, Javonte, and Terry McLaurin. I think since you already have a lead, you really got to boil this one down to the running backs because running backs just have a safer floor than receivers. Their volume is just more locked in. Melvin Gordon's back this week, which I think lowers Javonte Williams' ceiling a little bit. But honestly, I think I would go with Javonte Williams against the Lions. Like the Broncos should destroy the Lions in this game. The Lions are without all of their most talented players on offense. They already lack so much talent, and I'm pretty sure they're without some of their defense as well. I would go Javonte. I think you go Javonte. Crowder or Gage or MVS. Yeah, I would go Crowder, then Gage, then MVS. Are you actually high on Jameson Crowder? Yeah, I actually am. I'm not this high on Jameson Crowder. If you see my top wide receivers, he's not actually my number one receiver, but I actually do think he's gonna have a good game. Like, I think he's a solid wide receiver too this week. I think he goes over 10 fantasy points. I think he has 10 plus targets in his range of outcomes. There's no one else really to compete with targets. It's him, Keelan Cole, and Denzel Mims. And the Saints secondary is also really bad. They've been consistently bad. They've been a bottom 5 secondary this season. And their run defense is really good. Like, they funnel to the pass because they're so lopsided. Judy isn't playing today. Is this true? Let's take a look. Can anyone else confirm this report? Usually the chat breaks the news before I break the news. But we always have to follow up with official reports. Let me refresh Twitter here. The Jets currently have by far the highest percentage of their cap on IR at just under 26%. 26% of the Jets' cap space is on IR. Tony Pollard is officially out today. I don't see anything about Judy being out. My understanding was Judy was playing. But again, if you can send in the YouTube Live a link or a source for this info. The last I read about Judy is that he was playing. Renfro or Lockett in a PPR league? I would probably go Lockett over Renfro. Please, Walter. Michelle or Javonte Williams? Yeah, I would go Javonte over Michelle. And my name's actually Sam. It's a classic mistake. Don't worry about it. Walter is the artificially intelligent algorithm I helped build that powers the WalterPicks app in the iOS App Store, and you can see that app for completely free. You can download it for free. And any of the premium subs also come with a completely free 7-day trial. Guyton or Ayuk this week? Yeah, Jacob, it's got to be Ayuk at the bazooka in this one. Like, Guyton is not a horrible option, but Josh Palmer is probably also going to be involved for the Chargers, and Mike Williams is playing, so that's not good for Guyton. Ayuk's definitely better than Guyton. CEH or Renfro, 0.25 points per carry, and it's PPR. Yeah, if it's 0.25 points per carry, you got to be playing running back. I would go CH. Who should I start, Julio Jones or Emmanuel Sanders? I would go Julio Jones over Emmanuel Sanders for sure. Westbrook, Akine, Sutton, or Beasley? Emilio, I would go Beasley. You can't trust Sutton. And you definitely can't trust Westbrook Akine with Julio back either. So yeah, I would go with Beasley. You want pieces of the Bills Buccaneers game. On the app, who responds to the messages. That is both myself and my co-founder Dylan, who responds to the intercom messages on the app. Should I start Zeke or Pollard? Pollard's not playing, so definitely Zeke. You got to start Zeke this week. Herbert or Taysom Hill this week, it's got to be Herb. I play Herb over Taysom. I think Taysom Hill is a really safe floor, though. Like, if you're looking for a locked-in minimum 15 points, you go with Taysom Hill. But I would argue Herbert still has a much higher ceiling. Julio or Jones? You got to understand how many Joneses there are. There's a lot of Joneses. I need first name and last name. And if you're going to use a name like Jones. James Robinson or Mark Andrews? Yeah, don't start 2 tight ends, Noah. Don't do it, man. Start James Robinson over Mark Andrews. Taysom or Stafford? I would go Taysom over Stafford. This is not a good matchup for the Rams. The Cardinals are one of the best teams in the league, if not the best team in the league right now. Their defense is a big part of that. Michelle over Zeke or Montgomery. Yeah, Zeke over Montgomery over Michelle. You have to start Zeke. Guys, you have to start Zeke. I see Browns.WalterPicks in the chat. Hopefully he wasn't here earlier when I was saying that I think the Browns are going to lose today. But I do think the Browns will lose today. I do think they obviously have a chance to win. They're favored in this game, which I thought was surprising. But the Browns are cratering in front of our eyes. And I think one of the biggest problems in this game for them, like the Ravens have built their team really well to face the Browns. Their run defense is a lot better than their pass defense. And obviously the Browns are a team that's built to run. They got to get Nick Chubb and or Kareem Hunt going today to have any chance. And it's going to be tough to do against the Ravens defense. But I think like coming off of a game for the Ravens where Lamar threw 4 interceptions and the Browns still lost, I don't know how you could feel good about the Browns winning today. Like Lamar Jackson had arguably his worst game of the season in that game, and they still won. So yeah, I'm taking Lamar in this game, but our Browns.WalterPicks creator Jack is saying Browns by 6. What's good, Sam? Freeman, Baltimore running back, or Jalen Guyton? Yeah, I'll go Freeman over Guyton. How do you feel about Hilliard? Yeah, I'm not feeling good about him. And honestly, I'm a little bit more nervous about this take now than I was originally. Like, Hilliard has gone for 16 plus fantasy points in each of his last 2 games. But Jeremy Mcnichols is back. Julio Jones is back. He didn't play even half the snaps last game. I'm not feeling great about Hilliard. I'm not feeling great about him. I do think he can be started in some situations, though. Falcons or Panthers today? I got the Panthers. I got the Panthers beating the Falcons. Sam, who would you take between Jeff Wilson or Mike Davis? I take Jeff Wilson, Amelia. We can't trust Mike Davis. We can't trust Mike Davis. He actually, I think, is coming off his best game of the season. And Mike Davis revenge game this week, guys. This is a Mike Davis revenge game. He absolutely flopped in his last revenge game, as he's done in most games this season. But it is a revenge game for Mike Davis this week, round 2. The last time he played the Panthers, he played 60% of the snaps. He had 9 carries, 66 total yards. He actually didn't do horrible. He didn't flop. He had 11 points in that game. It was one of his best games of the season. But in his last game, he had 4 carries. But he also had 4 catches, and a total of 69 nice yards and a touchdown. Sam, Guyton or Palmer PPR? Yeah, I like Guyton more than Palmer, but really it's close. My Falcons will win 27-23. Yeah, probably not. Probably not. Though, like with Cam Newton, I think there's a really wide range of outcomes in that game, which is why I like Cam Newton in tournaments on DraftKings. And why I think Cam Newton has a lot of upside. But also, like we know, the floor is low. The floor is low for Cam. Cam could literally be benched. Bengals money line. I like the Bengals today. I think the Bengals win. It's a good matchup for the Bengals all of a sudden. The 49ers without their 2 top corners today. That is amazing news for the Bengals, who have a very dangerous passing attack. So yeah, I like the Bengals money line. I don't hate that at all. I like them against the spread as well. Montgomery or DK at flex? Yeah, you got to go Monty, Cody. You have to play Monty over DK. DK, don't get me wrong, he's got a really high ceiling. But I like Monty more than DK. Just the floor is good for Montgomery, and the ceiling's still pretty high too. Taysom Hill over 53.5 rushing yards. I think it's a pretty fair line. I would take the over. Thanks for the help, bro. Love the app. Thanks, man. Appreciate the positivity on this amazing Sunday. But yeah, I would probably take Taysom over 53.5. Like, he rushed for 100 yards last game. He's playing the Jets. I think they're going to win. pretty big against the Jets. So I don't hate Taysom. I always see these comments before I see the actual question someone is asking. Crowder or Mooney, please. Yeah, I would go Crowder over Mooney. Sanders got in Donovan Peoples-Jones or MVS. I think it's got to be MVS, Andrew. I think it has to be Marquez Valdes Scantling. Scantling's been really involved recently. Randall Cobb also on the IR. Not that that matters much. But the Bears secondary also just not that scary. It's not that scary of a secondary. I think they've allowed top 10 in fantasy points per game this season. They've allowed the 14th most fantasy points per game this season. Marquez Valdes Scantling has had some big games. He's had at least 40 yards in his last 3. He's got 4 catches in back-to-back games, but he's had over 140 air yards in 2 straight games. Like he's really getting a lot of deep looks. He had 10 targets in week 11, 9 targets in week 12. So yeah, I think you go MVS. Alvin Kamara Patterson, yeah, you can't bench Alvin Kamara. Is Julio a good start? I do think Julio's not a bad start. I don't hate Julio. Zeke or Montgomery, you can't bench Zeke. You can't bench Zeke. Hill or Herbert? Luke. I'm assuming you mean Taysom Hill and Justin Herbert here. Not Tyreek Hill and Khalil Herbert. This is why I need first and last names, man. But no, I would play Herbert over Taysom Hill, but I would argue that Taysom Hill is a safer floor than Herbert. But Herbert's ceiling is way higher than Taysom Hill's. Taysom Hill cannot throw. Maybe against the Jets he'll be able to throw, but like his ceiling as a passer is just really low. Patterson or Mike Williams? Yeah, I'd play Cordero over Mike Williams. Renfro or Lockett? I'm playing Lockett over Renfro this week. Odell or Jarvis or Crowder? Odell versus Jarvis. Will, this is an interesting one. Odell Beckham Jr. versus Jarvis Landry. I think Jarvis Landry has a better floor than Odell. I would argue Odell's ceiling is a little bit higher. But honestly, I think Jarvis Landry is a pretty good play this week. I think he's a good play. He's seen consistent volume since Odell left. Like, this is a game that I think the Browns are going to need to throw. The Ravens secondary is much worse than their run defense. And Jarvis Landry now has back-to-back games with 14-plus points. And his last game was against the Ravens, and he had 111 yards in that game. He had 111 air yards, 10 targets, like pretty healthy stat line for Jarvis Landry in his last game. So I think you go with Jarvis Landry. Don't be playing Hillard over Patterson. We're not doing that. We're absolutely not doing that. Russell Wilson or Matt Ryan? I would go Russ over Matt Ryan. This is not a good matchup for Matt Ryan. This is not a good spot for Matt Ryan. Happy Sunday, Sam. Saints or Chargers defense? Yeah, I think they're both really good. I actually think the Chargers defense might be better than the Saints, though. The Jets are without so much of their talent, but the Giants are starting Mike Glennon. And we've already established on this live stream, Mike Glennon is an auto L in the NFL, and he's like significantly worse than Zach Wilson. I would go the Chargers defense. I think that game's going to, like, the Giants could struggle to put up points in that game. The only player on the Giants that I trust even remotely today is Saquon Barkley, and that is it. End of list. I don't trust a single other player on that team. And so, yeah, I feel pretty good about the Chargers defense. Is McKissick playing? Nope, he's not. So you can fire up Antonio Gibson with a tremendous amount of confidence today. Tremendous amount of confidence today. Jameson, Crowder, or Emmanuel Sanders? I'd go Jay Crow, man. Jameson Lee Crowder over Manny Sanders. It's Jameson Lee Crowder week. He is the free prop pick today. We've hit 5 of our last 6 free props, by the way. We're on a little bit of a streak right now. We cashed KJ Osborne Thursday night. We cashed Taysom Hill and CeeDee Lamb the Thursday night before that. We cashed Antonio Gibson last Sunday, and we're cashing Jameson Lee Crowder today. He's going for 50-plus yards. Do you think Dalton Schultz has a good game? I don't think he's at all safe. I don't think he's a safe play. I won't be surprised if he does. Best flex pickup option. Yeah, Luke. I sneakily like Rashad Penny this week as a flex option or a running back option. What is your best bold take today? Let's stick with Rashad Penny. I think Rashad Penny could rush for 100-plus yards today. There's a bold take for you. I don't think he's done that a single time in his career. Really, this is the longest stretch of health Rashad Penny has had in his career, and I'm knocking on wood while I'm saying that. But he's competing with Alex Collins for touches, and Pete Carroll's been very open that if Rashad Penny plays well, that he will play more and get the ball more. And so I think if Penny has a good start to the game against the worst run defense in the league, he could legitimately run for 100-plus yards today. He had 62 total yards in his last game, and he only had 10 carries in that game. There's no Adrian Peterson for the Seahawks today. I think Rashad Penny could have a big day. So I answered 2 questions in one. There's my bold take, and there's my flex option as well. Brandon Ayuk or Michael Gallup. Yeah, I like Ayuk at the bazooka more than Michael Gallup. What to do with Monty and Zeke for playoffs that already secured first week bye? Alan, that's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm talking about. And I mean, what to do with them? Start them. That's what you do with them in the playoffs. Top 10 running backs. Let me pull up my top 10 RBs. Chuba Hubbard or Gallup or Crowder? Yeah, I think Chuba Hubbard is the biggest trap of the week. I'm not starting him. I think there's a good chance Amir Abdullah plays over him or touches the ball more than him, which is exactly what's happened in the last 2 games. Like, that's what we should go off of, right? Not what happened last time CMC was hurt, but what happened in the last 2 games is Amir Abdullah played over Chuba Hubbard. And so that tells me there's a pretty good chance that happens this week. So, yeah, I'm not starting Chuba Hubbard, really, like in any situation. Had to plug in the charger there for a second. Sorry about that. Burrow or Hill? Yeah, I'd go Taysom Hill over Burrow. All right, guys. It's 11:15 Eastern right now. We got about an hour 15 left in the stream. And yes, John, I would be starting Nick Chubb over Chuba Hubbard. We are less than 2 hours away from football. I'm getting excited. There's so many good games this week. This is a must-win week in fantasy for so many people. You got to keep your fantasy season going as long as possible. Seahawks defense or Saints defense? Yeah, it's Saints. If it's not the Chargers, then it's the Saints. Those are the top 2 defenses this week. Javonte, Jacobs, Hollywood start 2. I'd probably just start the first 2, but I would strongly consider Jacobs, Hollywood over Jacobs. But yeah, I'd just go with the first 2. Both those running backs are in my top 10 running backs this week. CEH or Sony at flex? I think it's Sony over CEH. Like, Sony's just going to touch the ball more than CEH is. Heineke or Lamar, touchdown only league. Touchdown only league? Touchdown only league? What is that, man? Definitely Lamar, though. Definitely Lamar. Should I panic on Zeke? No, I don't think you should panic on Zeke. I really don't. Like, especially because Tony Pollard is dealing with an injury. I think that changes things a lot. Yeah, I like Penny more than Ty Johnson and Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson's close. Jeff Wilson's probably safer than Penny. But I do think Debo Samuel knocks Jeff Wilson a little bit. WTF, man. OBJ or Gallup? Yeah, I would lean towards OBJ over Gallup. I don't trust Gallup at all. Hollywood or Ayuk? I would go Hollywood over Ayuk. Julio Jones or Gallup? I would go Julio Jones over Gallup too. Guys, Gallup is not a safe play. I know he's done well the last month, but with Amari Cooper back at full strength, he really has a low floor. Thoughts on Kareem Hunt? Yeah, I think the Browns really need to get Hunt and Chubb going in this game. And it's not going to be easy, though. It's not a good matchup for him. The Ravens' run defense is good. The Ravens' run defense has been good for the whole season. What is Penny's floor? His floor is low. Don't get me wrong. Penny's floor is low because the opposite could also happen. Like, Alex Collins is also going to have a chance to be the hot hand in this game. And it seems pretty clear the Seahawks are going to ride the hot hand. So I think the floor for Penny is 40 yards, no touchdowns, no catches. Like, that is his floor. But I think his ceiling is 100-plus yards and a touchdown. And that's enough for me to play him in most situations that you're probably considering him. But yeah, Kareem Hunt, last time out against the Ravens, he played 40% of the snaps. He turned 7 carries into 20 yards. So it's tough to get that excited about Kareem Hunt this week. Good morning, Sam. Good morning, man. I would go Saints over Seahawks. Lockett or Terry McLaurin. Yeah, I would probably go with Lockett. Love your videos and content. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Alan. Appreciate the positivity, man. Kylo, you said Tannehill over Russ and Carr. I would play him over Russ. I don't love Russell Wilson this week. The Texans secondary has been weirdly good. And their run defense is astonishingly bad. So I think the Seahawks could run a lot. Carr versus Tannehill is super close. And yeah, I would lean Tanny over Carr. OBJ, Ayuk, or Crowder must win game. Wally, this one's close, man. I want to say Crowder. I do. I want to say Crowder. I would argue that Ayuk is probably the safest and best option. But I really think Crowder is a good option as well. I think his floor is really, really good. The other two have a higher ceiling than Crowder, though. Personally, I would probably go Ayuk. But also, I'm not benching Crowder. So I think my final answer is Crowder. But obviously, this one's tough. I'm interested, too, Wally, what the WalterPicks app says about this one. Crowder versus Ayuk of the Bazooka. Again, Crowder's against a bottom 5 secondary, and he's the clear top receiver on the team this week. So his floor is good. I think his ceiling's good. The only real concern about Crowder is if the Jets just completely crater. And that's obviously possible. The Jets would just struggle to move the chains. And that's not going to be good for anyone on their offense. But I do think Crowder has a good floor and a reasonable ceiling against the Saints. I think he could go for 100 yards and a touchdown against the Saints. And I think he has 10-plus targets in his range of outcomes, too. Pick 2, Sony Michel, Mike Williams, or Nick Chubb. I think it's the first two. I'm benching Nick Chubb, Ryan, in this situation. Benching Nick Chubb for Sony Michel does not feel good. But I think it's logical this week. After what Nick Chubb did against the Ravens in their last game, Jameson, Crowder, or Melvin Gordon? I would go Crowder over Melvin Gordon. I would go Crowder over Ty Johnson 100%. Hey, good morning, Sam. Good morning, man. Need help. Which two would you pick? Half PPR, Kelsey, Kittle, Mike Williams. I would probably pick Kelsey and Mike Williams. I think I would go Kelsey and Mike Williams. You're not benching Kelsey. Sony Michel or Teddy Bridgewater at super flex. You got to start a quarterback. You're super flex. You have to. So definitely Bridgewater. And he's playing the Lions too. What you guys got going is awesome. Thanks, man. Seattle or Denver? Yeah, probably Denver. There's no way Denver loses the Lions. I'm not going to say I'm going to delete my account if the Lions win, but I would be really shocked if the Lions win this one. Sutton or Cooks? Yeah, if Cooks plays, which I think he's questionable at the moment with a back injury, but assuming he plays, I would go Cooks. I don't trust Sutton. Here's the deal with the Cowboys benches today. Cowboys got word from Seattle that the hot seat benches provided for them at FedEx Field kept going out during the game. Cowboys partnered with company in Cleveland that shipped them to FedEx, so this wouldn't be an issue today. Talking about the Cowboy Stadium. Ridiculous. There's a lot of injuries to monitor today, guys, and it's going to have a really big impact on the games. The biggest of these injuries are with the 49ers and Washington in the defensive side of the ball. Washington is without their top 3 defensive ends. They're basically playing practice squad defensive ends against one of the best offensive lines in the league, which is the Dallas Cowboys this week. That's why I think the Cowboys are a lock to beat Washington by at least a touchdown. So I like that spread. I like the Cowboys to win and dominate on offense at least. That's why you have to start Zeke this week too. And then we also have the 49ers who are without their top 2 corners against the Bengals. So you got to fire up Jamar Chase and definitely T. Higgins with a lot of confidence. I actually don't think you're crazy if you have T. Higgins ranked ahead of Jamar Chase this week. T. Higgins has been balling, man. He's been over 100 yards in each of his last 2 games, and I think he could go for a third straight this week. Jamar Chase has cooled off, by the way, over the last month. He doesn't have a single game over 70 yards in his last 5, but that could change today against backup corners for the 49ers. We also have, for the Jets, Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, Michael Carter, they're all out today. That is good news for Jameson and Lee Crowder. Hey, Sam, Mooney, Van Jefferson, or Russell Gage? Yeah, I would probably Mooney, Van Jefferson, Russell Gage. I would probably go. I think it's Mooney for me over Van Jefferson. They're actually really similar options. I'm concerned about Van Jefferson's floor more than Mooney's floor, though. But Allen Robinson is back this week, which is concerning. But yeah, I think I would go with Mooney. Guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you're watching live on TikTok, hit the follow button, hit the like button as well. I appreciate everyone tuning in. Seriously, time is the most valuable thing we have in life. So thank you for spending some time with me this morning. If you haven't checked out the WalterPicks app yet, you got to check out the app. Don't know what you're waiting for. It's completely free to download. It's in the YouTube description. It's in the TikTok bio, and Android is coming today, as soon as today. This is not a drill. So Android people, check out the Google Play Store. It's coming very soon. Saquon or Sony Michel? Yeah, I'm going Saquon over Michel. Not feeling good about Hillard, but all the others are saying to start him over Gage. I don't know what to do. I'm not feeling good about Hillard either, but I think starting him over Gage is fine. I'm not feeling great about Gage either. Oh, Denver or Seattle defense. Yeah, Denver defense. Ty Johnson or Hilliard. Yeah, probably Hilliard there as well. I really don't like Ty Johnson against the Saints. The Saints have the best run defense in the league. Debo or McLaurin. I would be really, really hesitant to bench Debo Samuel. I think you kind of have to start Debo Samuel. He's been too good. What's your best two-team teaser? So my favorite game is the Cowboys. Like, I would be really shocked if the Cowboys lose. So I guess them. If I were to choose a second game, probably the Saints against the Jets. Probably Dallas and the Saints. Please help. Chuba Hubbard or Kareem Hunt. Yeah, I'm not trusting Chuba Hubbard. Bucks on the spread. I have very little confidence in the spread on the Bucks and Bills game. I think that game could easily go either way. We haven't seen the Bills defense without Tre'Davious White yet. It's going to be really interesting to see how that defense does against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Pick 2, Judy, Connor, Crowder, Julio Jones. Yeah, it's probably, for me, those last two. I think you probably want to start James Conner too, though. I would probably play Julio Jones over Crowder for the ceiling. So I'd probably go Julio and Connor. Gage or Ayuk. Yeah, this one's got to be Ayuk at the bazooka, man. It's got to be Ayuk. I know Gage has been doing well, but he still has a really low floor, and it's not a good matchup for him. I would go Ayuk at the bazooka over Russell Gage. Montgomery or Aaron Jones? Yeah, it's Montgomery over Aaron Jones for me. He's just in line for more work. Like, Aaron Jones is only seeing 60% of the work. Guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. I do appreciate it. It helps us out a ton. It is Jameson Elite Crowder week, guys. You got to be playing over Michael Gallup. You got to be playing him over a lot of different options. In PPR leagues especially, I feel good about Jameson Crowder with no Corey Davis, with no Elijah Moore, against the Saints secondary that's been the 5th worst against receivers. Who are some tight end streamers? We're getting asked that in the TikTok live. I think the best streamer is Austin Hooper if he's available. If he's not, I also like Ricky Seals-Jones this week, who's available in 80% of leagues. He's going to be playing every single down for Washington with Logan Thomas out, and Dallas has not been very good against tight ends. Rank these PPR: Javonte Williams, Sony Michel, DJ, and Amari Cooper. Yeah, I'd probably put DJ Moore first in a PPR league. I would probably put I want to put Amari Cooper second against Washington, then Javonte, then Michelle. I think that's how I would rank it. But all 4 of these guys are good this week. I think all 4 of them. The only one not in my top 10, though, is Cooper and Michelle. I have Javonte and DJ. So maybe I'd go DJ, Javonte, Cooper, Michelle. Good morning, Sam. Stephon Diggs or T. Higgins? Don't bench Stephon Diggs. Do not bench Stephon Diggs. He's, I think, my number 4 wide receiver this week. Pick 1, Crowder, Gage, Van Jefferson, Julio. Yeah, I think I'd like Julio a little bit more than Crowder. I think I would rank these guys: Crowder number 2, Julio number 1, Probably Gage number 3, Van Jefferson number 4, Amon-Ra St. Brown number 5. Yeah, I personally think it's fine to start Gage over Hilliard or Hilliard over Gage. I think either way, like it's a close decision. So I would ease yourself of some stress with this decision. It's fine to start Hilliard over Gage. It's also fine to start Gage over Hilliard. I don't like Hilliard this week. He's been good the last 2 weeks, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be good this week. Personally, I would start Gage. Like personally, I'm starting Russell Gage. So if it makes you feel better, that's what I would do. Thoughts on starting Abdullah, also Alex Collins or Penny? I think Amir Abdullah and Rashad Penny are the 2 best high upside ambiguous backfield plays this week. I don't like the Lions backfield. I don't love Hilliard or the Titans backfield that much. And I think Amir Abdullah could actually play over Chuba Hubbard. I think he could outtouch Chuba Hubbard because he has. He has been playing over Chuba Hubbard over the last 2 games. So I don't hate him. And it's obviously a good matchup, but it's an even better matchup for the Seahawks. I like Penny more than Alex Collins. It could easily end up being Alex Collins, though. Like they're pretty clear they're going to ride the hot hand. But I think Penny has a better chance to be that hot hand over Alex Collins. Pick 2, Zeke, Sony Michel, or James Conner. Don't bench Zeke. Do not bench Ezekiel Elliott. Tony Pollard's not playing. So do not bench Zeke, and I would play Sony over Conner. Hey, Sam, how are you? I'm doing well, man. Thanks for asking. It's week 14. It's a very exciting week. We're about to head into the fantasy football playoffs. Jameson and Lee Crowder is a legitimate good start this week with no Corey Davis, with no Elijah Moore against a bad defense. The Patriots are in first place. We're launching on Android today. There's so many good things happening. I'm doing well. I really am doing well. Thanks for asking. Debo Samuel or Mike Williams. I'm not benching Debo. I really you just can't bench Debo Samuel. He's been too good. I know he's coming off an injury. There's going to be risk. He's coming back early too, earlier than we expected. But you can't bench him. You just can't bench him. Like even in limited snaps, you want Debo Samuel in your lineup. This is another one that you just don't want to overthink. It's the same thing with Dalvin Cook on Thursday night. He keeps coming off an injury. There's going to be a chance of re-injury. But don't overthink it. Debo Samuel has had over 10 points in every single game that he's played in this season. And he's had so many big performances. And he's used in so many different ways. You got to start Debo Samuel and just be happy that he's back, man. Just be happy he's back. Don't bench him. Hooper or Higbee, PPR. Yeah, I'm going Hooper over Higbee all day. Taysom Hill or Dak is close. I have Dak ranked ahead of Taysom Hill, though. I have Taysom Hill as my number 9 QB. Dak is my number 7 QB. If you come to the YouTube live, by the way, link is in the TikTok bio. You can see my top 10 rankings, every single position. Mahomes or Newton must win. Yeah, Amar. Play Mahomes. Play Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes threw for, 410 yards the last time he played the Raiders. And the last time Cam Newton played, he completed 5 passes. So, yeah, play Mahomes. Yeah, Mahomes had 36 points his last game against the Raiders. He threw for 406 yards and 5 touchdowns. Play Mahomes. Taysom Hill or Lamar. I have Kamara as well. Yeah, you got to be playing Lamar. Don't bench Lamar. Please, need help. Julio, Jamar Jefferson, or Mooney flex. It's got to be. It's got to be Julio. It's got to be Julio here. I think Deontay Foreman's interesting this week. Obviously, it's a good matchup against the Jaguars, Kylo. But I'm really not that excited about him. Maybe I should be more excited about him. I'm not that excited about him. I think his ceiling is not that high because they split the backfield, and he's not going to get very many catches. Hey, Sam. Tyler Higbee, Cole Kmet, or Austin Hooper must win. Yeah, I like Hooper more than Cole Kmet and Higbee. All the tight ends are out for the Browns. All the tight ends are out for the Browns. If you're just joining the YouTube live, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, first name, last name. Who do you like in DFS today? This is my DFS lineup today in tournaments. This is my favorite tournament DraftKings lineup. Though I will say, I might tinker with this slightly to get either Zeke or Antonio Gibson in here. But I actually I like the philosophy behind this lineup in a tournament. I like playing Cam Newton over Taysom Hill, who really, to me, those are the 2 quarterbacks you're deciding between on DraftKings today. I think Taysom Hill is just going to be used a lot more in lineups. I think Taysom Hill's going to be close to 25% rostered. I think Cam Newton's going to be under 10% based on his last game. People are very sour on Cam Newton right now, but it's a good matchup for Cam. The Falcons have been bottom 10 against quarterbacks this season. They've been pretty bad against rushing QBs too. Sam Darnold rushed for over 60 yards the last time the Panthers played the Falcons. So I think Cam could have a good rushing day. And I think he could figure out some of his passing against a bad secondary. So I like the Cam Newton DJ Moore stack in tournaments, and it's a pretty cheap stack. I also like Tyler Lockett in tournaments always. I think Dawson Knox is the one player that's in every single one of my lineups this week because he's just a very cheap way to get to that Buccaneers-Bills game. Obviously, you need some pieces of that game in your lineups. I probably don't have enough pieces of that game in this lineup. And, of course, I'm playing Jameson Lee Crowder because he's in a great matchup. There's no Elijah Moore. There's no Corey Davis. And the Saints are one of the biggest funnel defenses to pass in the league. They're the number one run defense, and they're a bottom 5 pass defense. Deep league, Treadwell or Palmer. Yeah, Eric. I would probably go Josh Palmer over Treadwell. I'd probably go Josh Palmer over Treadwell. This is a deep league. I like the deep league questions. Treadwell, I feel like Treadwell has a better chance at 0 points than Palmer does. And I also feel like Palmer's ceiling's higher than Treadwell's. So, yeah, I would go Palmer. Hey, Sam, one more question. Lamar Jackson or Justin Herbert? Yeah, I'm not benching Lamar. I'm almost never going to tell you to bench Lamar. The only quarterbacks I'm benching Lamar for this week are Mahomes and Kyler Murray. And I think you could make a good argument for Josh Allen, too, to have a higher ceiling than Lamar. But I would be playing Lamar over Josh Allen, too. Face Dalvin Cook. Oh, God. So I'm down big, Brandon Cooks or Penny. Yeah, if you're down big, I'm not so sure Cooks is even playing. I don't think this has been confirmed yet. Let me see, refresh here. Oh, David Johnson is on the COVID list now. Wow. So that makes Rex Burkhead another ambiguous backfield play this week against the Seahawks. The Seahawks have been really, really bad against the run. Tony Pollard's also out. I think if you're down big, though, you go Brandon Cooks over Penny. I do think Penny has sneaky upside, though. Like, I like Penny. And I don't like Cooks, though. But if you're down big, I think Cooks has a higher ceiling than Penny. Do I start Debo or Russell Gage? Don't bench Debo Samuel. Never bench Debo Samuel. If Debo Samuel is going to walk out there and play on a football field, he should be in your fantasy lineups. Like, it is that simple. It was that simple with Dalvin Cook on Thursday. It's that simple with Debo Samuel, too. Guys, Debo Samuel, even if he's playing a fraction of his snaps, he's averaging the second most fantasy points per game in the NFL this season. And he's also getting a lot of carries. He's averaging almost 100 yards per game. Hey, Sam, Mike Davis or one of the Lions running backs? Yeah, I'd probably go with Mike Davis over the Lions running backs. I don't like the Lions running backs. Hey, love your content, Sam. Thanks, man. Appreciate the positivity. Mike Davis revenge game. It's a Mike Davis revenge game against the Panthers, and he did score 11 points. All right, this is Robbie. This is exactly why I'm playing James Robinson in my DraftKings tournament. This is how down bad people are on James Robinson. Like, no, we're not playing Burkhead over James Robinson. Hey, Sam, love the app, man. Thanks. Jeff Wilson or Hasty? Yeah, it's Jeff Wilson, but I don't feel great about either because Debo Samuel's playing. And I think Debo Samuel does eat into their work. I got to update the app for David Johnson being out now, which is pretty big news. He was just placed on the COVID list against the Seahawks, and he was supposed to come back this week, which made Rex Burkhead really just a guy that you just couldn't. But now, Rex Burkhead against the Seahawks, good matchup. There's going to be volume for him. Let me update his projection in the app. Let's see what he comes out at. I'll be very interested to see. Like, maybe he's a better option than some of these other ambiguous backfields, because this I don't think is going to be a very ambiguous backfield. So we look at Rex Burkhead's stats over the last few weeks, and he's seen at least 8 carries in 3 straight games, but he hasn't scored 10 points in the last month. And he's been playing. He had a couple games without David Johnson, and he had a game against the Jets in a good matchup, he did pretty much nothing. Also, Davis Mills is starting at QB for the Texans, so you can't feel very good about that. His projection comes in still under 10 points. So, yeah, I'm not super excited about Rex Burkhead. But I'm more excited about him now than I was. He has a 31% chance still to score under 10 points. Devin Singletary. Or Rashad Penny. I don't feel good about any of the Bills running backs this week. I would not be starting Devin Singletary. I would start Rashad Penny over Devin Singletary. Like, this is week 14. It's the biggest week of the fantasy football season for so many teams. And here we are, man. We're talking about Igwe, Austin Walter, Amir Abdullah, and Rashad Penny, just like we drew it up. If I were to rank these running backs, I would put Penny number 1. I would put Abdullah number 2. I would put Igwe number 3. And I would put Austin Walter number 4. Is Debo going to play? Yep. Hey, Sam, WalterPicks on Android yet? It's coming today. It literally might be in the Play Store now. I don't think it is, but it's coming today. And if it's not today, then it's going to be tomorrow. So a lot to be excited about. So yeah, just check the Play Store throughout the day. It's gonna be there. Hey Sam, Abdullah, Hilliard, Moss, or Jamar? That one's probably Hilliard. Hilliard versus Abdullah is close. Like, I want to say Abdullah, but I think Hilliard's safer. Long, loyal client to the Walter app. Thanks, man. I need a player prop lock from the king himself. Yeah, so we do have 3 locks in the WalterPicks app today. But my favorite prop today, the free prop pick of the day, is Jameson Lee Crowder, over 49.5 receiving yards. I really think he's going to go for 50-plus yards. Julio or Cooks or Van Jefferson? Yeah, I'd go Julio. Davis Mills is not good news for Cooks, by the way. Davis Mills is not it. He's not it. So should I start Debo or Ayuk? Yeah, you got to start Debo. You have to start Debo. Jamal Williams or Mike Davis? I don't want to start either of those guys, but I think it's Darrell Williams, honestly. Taysom Hill. Can you update Sony Michel's projection on the app? Yeah, I'm on that. Komet or Foster Moreau? I would probably go Foster Moreau. I think Moreau's in my number 10 ranked tight end. He let us down last week. He's probably going to let us down this week, but so is Cole Komet. So, like, you're playing with a double-edged sword there. I'd probably go Moreau though. Yeah, let me update with Darrell Henderson is out. Sony Michel is, I think, a borderline top 15 running back now, but I'm updating the projections now in the app. So Darrell Henderson was projected before only for 10 points because there was a good chance even if Darrell Henderson was going to play, like, this was going to be a tough decision on who to start, Darrell Henderson, Sony Michel, or neither or both, before Darrell Henderson was ruled out. But now that Darrell Henderson's out, it really makes things much more simple. Like, Sony Michel is kind of a guy you almost have to start in most situations. I'm updating his projection right now. Just put Darrell Henderson down to 0. And before the Darrell Henderson news, Sony was projected for 8 points. Now he's projected for almost 15 points. Yeah, that checks out. So 14.9 is his PPR projection in the WalterPicks app. And he's only got a 24% chance to score under 10. He's got a 19% chance to score 25 plus. Not bad at all. He's probably a guy you should start. Connor or Aaron Jones? Yeah, I'm playing Aaron Jones over James Conner. Guys, we're live on YouTube and TikTok right now. Link to the YouTube lives in the TikTok bio, and you get access to my top 10 rankings every position, as well as my favorite picks against the spread. What's the app called? The app is called WalterPicks. WalterPicks. One word, WalterPicks. That is the app that I've been building over the last 2.5 years. And it gives us the best projections in the industry. It gives us range of outcomes, boom and bust probabilities for every player, every game. Foreman, Jefferson, or Gordon? Are you Walter? No, I'm not. I'm not Walter. Classic mistake. My name's Sam. Walter's the artificially intelligent algorithm that powers the WalterPicks app that I helped build. Classic mistake. Do not worry about it. Foreman, Jefferson, or Gordon? Yeah. It's probably Gordon, honestly. It's probably Gordon. Like, the Broncos are probably going to destroy the Lions in this game. So I like Gordon, I think, more than Foreman. Definitely, I would go Sony Michel over Devontae Freeman. Hey, Weatherman Sam, any weather updates? No. Good news today in terms of weather. There's nothing really to talk about. The only game that is going to have a little bit of wind is the Chiefs game. But it's only 16 miles an hour. You know, it's not even close to the 25 miles an hour that we get concerned about. So really, like, all the games too, sunny and clear. We're not even expecting any precipitation today in any of the games. So we are clear in week 14 of weather like we saw last Monday night. Possible last question. Foreman or Jamar Jeff? Also, to let you know the title of last week's YouTube Live, I also says, yeah, I saw that. I got to fix that. That's probably pretty confusing. But yeah, I would probably go Foreman over Jamar Jeff. Is Debo a good DFS play? That one's an interesting question. Probably. He probably is, because he probably won't be in many lineups either. Especially like some lineups just have already been made and people won't change them. I think he's an interesting tournament play. I don't think I'd play him in head-to-head contest, though. Monty or Ayuk at flex? I'd go Monty over Ayuk. Saquon or Javonte? That one's super close too, but Saquon is just like, I am trusting Saquon a little bit this week. The Chargers' run defense is bad. I would go Saquon over Javonte Williams. Hilliard or Foreman? Yeah, I like Foreman more than Hilliard. I could end up being wrong about this one, but I really don't trust Hilliard with Jeremy Mcnichols back. Yeah, here's my DraftKings lineup. If you come to the YouTube Live, link is in the TikTok bio. This is my tournament lineup. This is not the lineup I would play in a head-to-head contest. If there's a head-to-head contest, I would play Taysom Hill instead of Cam Newton. Or if it was a 50-50, I'd play Taysom Hill instead of Cam Newton. I would definitely take out Tyler Lockett. I would probably change the running backs up too. This is the tournament lineup because I think this lineup has massive upside. And it's a lot of players that I don't think other people will be playing. DJ Moore or Amari Cooper? I like Moore more than Amari this week. I like both of them, though. They're both in my DraftKings lineup, which you can see on the YouTube Live. Link is in the TikTok bio. Hill or Dak? I had Dak ahead of Hill, but I think Taysom Hill is a really high floor, higher than Dak. But Dak's ceiling's higher than Taysom Hill's. And then Chuba or Jeff Wilson? Yeah, Chuba Hubbard to me is the trap of the week. I'm not starting Chuba Hubbard. He's played behind Amir Abdullah in the last 2 games. And so I'm not convinced he's going to play ahead of him in this game. I know that's what happened last time that Christian McCaffrey was out, but I think things have changed a little bit in the coaching staff's eyes because Amir Abdullah has played more. Jeff Wilson or Crowder? Yeah, I'm playing Crowder over Jeff Wilson. Guys, Amir Abdullah played over half the snaps in week 12. And Chuba Hubbard played 15% of the snaps. Now, obviously, Christian McCaffrey played a little bit in that game too. So yeah, I'm not feeling good about Chuba Hubbard. Julio or Gage or Mooney? Yeah, I like Julio Jones. Definitely over Gage. Definitely over Mooney. Sam, I haven't hopped on the stream in 2 weeks, but it's playoffs. Andrew, thanks for hopping back on, man. Good to see you here. Ayuk or Cooks, Pitts or Knox? Yeah, so we're done giving Pitts chances. I'm going Knox over Pitts. And Ayuk versus Cooks, I'm definitely going Ayuk over Cooks as well. I think these are honestly 2 pretty easy decisions for me. Sam, are you ready for football Sunday? Of course, man. This is the best day of the week. It's a massive week, week 14. Got to get into the fantasy football playoffs in a couple leagues. Trying to avoid last place in one league. Can't be coming in last place, man. You cannot be coming in last place. Debo, if Debo plays, Debo's playing. Almost definitely. Do I play Cooper, Hubbard, or Edmonds in the flex? Yeah, definitely Cooper. It's definitely Cooper. And I think Chuba Hubbard is the big trap of the week. Hopkins or Crowder? I'm playing Hopkins over Crowder. Brady's definitely a guy that I'm playing over Taysom Hill as well. Spread picks. Yeah, let me pull up my picks against the spread. Cooks, Julio, or Shepard? Yeah, I would go Julio over Shepard and Cooks. It's tough to trust Shepard. Shepard's played only 3 full games this year. He's played 5 total games, 2 of which he got hurt. In the 3 full games he played, he's averaging 11 targets a game. But I'm just not sure he's going to play the full game. Like, it's hard to trust Sterling Shepard to have a big workload in this game. So if you think he's 100% healthy and going to be at his normal workload, like, Sterling Shepard's not a bad option. But I'm just not that confident that's going to be the case. Reynolds or Jarvis? Definitely Jarvis. Aaron Jones or Javonte Williams? Got to be Javonte Williams over Aaron Jones this week. Mooney, Landry, or Chuba Hubbard? Definitely Landry. Then Mooney, then Chuba Hubbard. I'm benching Chuba Hubbard. I'm playing Crowder over Iwubike as well. Montgomery or Chubb? It's tough to trust Nick Chubb this week. It really is. I could end up being wrong about this one too. Like, obviously Nick Chubb can go off any given week, but he was just held up against the same Ravens defense he's playing in his last game. Why are you benching Chuba Hubbard? Because he's been playing behind Amir Abdullah the last 2 games. Abdullah played more than him in the last game when McCaffrey was hurt. So I'm not going to be surprised if it's Amir Abdullah and not Chuba Hubbard getting most of the touches today, though it is a good matchup for both of them. Julio or Ikine? Yeah, it's got to be Julio. Got to be Julio. Guys, if Julio's back, he's back. Like, he's going to play, is what I mean. Like, if he's activated, he's playing. He's obviously at a huge risk of re-injury, as he has been the whole season. But I still think Julio has an intriguing ceiling in this game. And as part of me too is like, why have you been holding on to Julio Jones the whole season to not play him when he's healthy? And I've said this before, and it has not gone well. But I'm saying it again. And there's also no AJ Brown this time too, so like, he should see a lot of targets. Bridgewater or Carr? Yeah, I mean, Bridgewater has the better matchup. But the Broncos also could run a lot in this game, which is why I think I would go with Derek Carr. AJ Dillon, Julio or DK at the flex. Thanks for everything, man. Awesome work. Thanks, Bryce. Appreciate the positivity, man. I think I would probably go with DK over AJ Dillon and Julio Jones. I think he just has a higher ceiling than them. McLaurin or Lockett? I need to make the playoffs. Yeah, I like Lockett's ceiling more than McLaurin's. 0.5 points per completion. Yeah, you can't be playing Taysom Hill if that's the case. Like, that definitely is not a good scoring system for Taysom Hill. And Joe Burrow gets the 49ers without their top 2 corners today. I would go Joe Burrow over Taysom in that situation. Is Mixon playing? Yeah, he is. Mixon is playing. T. Higgins is playing. David Johnson is not playing. Elijah Moore is not playing. Corey Davis is not playing. The entire group of defensive ends for Washington football team is basically not playing. All the tight ends except for Austin Hooper for the Browns are not playing. Darren Waller is not playing. Tevin Coleman also not playing for the Jets. The inactives are just coming out now. Terrace Marshall is playing this week. That'll be interesting. I don't think he's played yet with Cam Newton. Tony Pollard is not playing. You got to fire up Zeke with so much confidence today. Really. Big weekend coming for Antonio Gibson. Yeah. J.D. McKissick's also not playing. So another big week for Antonio Gibson. Antonio Gibson's finally getting the receiving work we wanted him to get. Sam, please choose 2 to start. McLaurin, Higgins, Renfro, Crowder, or DJ Moore. Yeah, you got to start Higgins and you got to start DJ Moore. You got to start Higgins and DJ Moore. I think both those guys have a really high ceiling today. Pick 2, CEH, DeAndre Hopkins, or Renfro. Yeah, I would probably go D-Hop and Renfro over CEH. Brandon Cooks, Burkhead, or Crowder. Yeah, I like Crowder more than both Burkhead and Cooks. I like Crowder more than both of them, especially if it's a PPR league. If this is still the half point per completion league, then I'm not going Taysom Hill. But otherwise, Taysom Hill over Derek Carr for me. Don't start JaMychal Hasty. Don't start JaMychal Hasty. I'm seeing some Hasty questions in the TikTok live. Do not start him. I had some faith for him at the beginning of the week, but I didn't think Debo Samuel was going to be back. And Debo Samuel's back. And so you just can't start JaMychal Hasty. Alvin Kamara is officially active. Julio Jones is officially active. Curtis Samuel. Nobody's asked about Curtis Samuel. He's probably available in a lot of leagues too. And apparently he's going to be playing the full game for the first time, really, this whole season this week. And he did get some snaps out of the backfield in his last game. Like maybe he takes some of the J.D. McKissic role. I know that's not what Antonio Gibson managers are hoping to hear. But Curtis Samuel, he has not played over 40% of the snaps in a single game. He hasn't ran more than 15 routes in a single game. He only has one game with over one target. And he could have his biggest game of the season today in a game that I think is going to be really high scoring, Washington versus Dallas. So Curtis Samuel is active today. Julio or Gage? Yeah, I'm going Julio over Gage. I'm benching Chuba Hubbard. I'm still seeing a lot of Chuba Hubbard. What's the word with Crowder, bro? The word is that he's a good play in fantasy this week against a bottom 5 Saints secondary in a top run defense for the Saints. Like the Saints funnel towards the pass. There's no Corey Davis. There's no Elijah Moore. I like Jameson Crowder's prop over 49.5 receiving yards. I think he goes for 10 plus fantasy points this week as well. Sam, is DJ Moore going to have a good game? I think he will. Guys, we are live on TikTok. We are live on YouTube. We've been live for 2.5 hours. The best day of the week. We are a little bit over an hour away from football, guys. And it's going to be a good Sunday of football. A big week 14 in fantasy as well. If you are watching live on TikTok, you can come see my top 10 rankings every position on the YouTube live. Link is in the TikTok bio. Thoughts on Odell Beckham Jr.? Yeah, I think he's a high ceiling, low floor play. I do think the ceiling's really high, though. He didn't play much in his last game, but that was partly because the Rams just dominated that game. And so they didn't need to play Odell that much, especially he's dealing with some hip injury. But against the Cardinals, I think he's going to play closer to what he did in week 12, which was 99% of the snaps. And in that game, he had 81 yards, 19 points. And even in limited playing time, he only played half the snaps last week. He still scored a touchdown. He still had over 100 air yards. Like, he has a good ceiling in this offense. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on OBJ. I think the floor, is a little scary with Van Jefferson still being involved in a similar role. But against the Cardinals, the matchup's not good, but the defense is good. But it should be a high-scoring game. So those are my thoughts on OBJ. I think he's generally underrated right now in fantasy. CEH or James Robinson? Yeah, I'm playing Robinson over CEH this week. Yo, Sam, pick one. Traquan Smith, Marquez, Valdes, Scantling, Tyler Boyd, A-Rob, Edmonds, must-win game. I would not start Allen Robinson. I don't think you can start Allen Robinson. I don't think you should start Traquan Smith or Chase Edmonds. I would probably go with Tyler Boyd, honestly. Brady or Belichick? Ryan, man. Ryan, it's a great Sunday. It's a great Sunday, but let's not open this can of worms right now. I am firmly in, I've actually, my opinion on this has changed a little bit over time. I think the debate is a little bit of a ridiculous debate. Obviously, it's both, right? But I do think both mattered. And last season, it was pretty clear, Brady was winning the argument. But personally, I think it was more Brady than Belichick. Though, I mean, the narrative really is changing this season. It is. This is the thing about Belichick, really quickly, and I know most Pats fans might not care. I think that he's the best coach of all time, definitely. But he's a pretty below average GM. I think he gets way too much credit as a GM, and that's really hurt him in really the last 3 years, even to the end of Brady's tenure. And I think letting Brady leave was a big mistake. And I blame Belichick for Brady's departure, not Brady. So they're my general thoughts. But obviously, they're both the GOATs. Any weather updates? No, there's no real weather updates. Good news today. Actually, there's not even any precipitation expected in any of the games today. The windiest game is supposed to be the Chiefs-Raiders game, but it's not even close to the 25 miles an hour winds that we get concerned about. So, yeah, I'm not that concerned about any of the weather. We got a update about Android just a few minutes ago. We are in the Android approval process. So there's no telling when we'll officially be approved. And there's always, of course, a chance we don't get approved. We mess something up. But once approved, today, you will be able to find us in the Google Play Store in the United States and in Canada. Cardinals running back situation is really, like, with Chase Edmonds back, James Conner still has a lot of touchdown upside, but he is not going to see as many targets and he's not going to see as many carries now. He's averaging under 1 target a game in games where Chase Edmonds played. So in a PPR league, like, it's a big hit for James Conner. Start 2, Crowder, Mooney, OBJ. Yeah, I think you go with Crowder and OBJ. I would go with Crowder and OBJ. Austin Hooper is a pretty good option this week. He is. All of the tight ends except for Austin Hooper are out for the Browns. They're all out. I would play him over Foster Moreau. Let me pull up my top 10 tight ends. You can see all my top 10 rankings on the YouTube Live if you're watching live on TikTok. The link to the YouTube Live is in the TikTok bio. And if you are watching live on YouTube, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I do appreciate it. Yeah, I would be playing Hooper over Moreau for sure. Hey, Sam, Jameson, Elite, Crowder, Gallup, Guyton, Hilliard, in flex, 0 PPR. Yeah, 0 PPR, I still think I would go Crowder. Choose 2, Mike Williams, Saquon, and Marquise Brown. I definitely would go Saquon. Marquise Brown versus Mike Williams is super close, but I would probably go Marquise Brown over Mike Williams. Sony Michel or CEH? It's got to be Sony. It's got to be Sony over CEH. I'm seeing some Zeke questions too. There shouldn't be any Zeke questions. Tony Pollard is out. So you have to start Zeke. T. Higgins is another guy you kind of have to start. I would go with these first 2. But definitely Zeke first. Again, the Bengals are up against the 49ers today. The 49ers don't have both of their top corners. They're without both of their top cornerbacks. So that's great news for T. Higgins. It's great news for Jamar Chase. And on the flip side of Zeke, not only is Tony Pollard out, but also the Washington football team is without their top 3 defensive ends. So they're basically playing practice squad level defensive ends today against one of the best offensive lines in the league. I think the Cowboys offensively should easily put up 30 plus points today. Like they really should. Amari Cooper's back healthy. And there's so many injuries in the Washington defense. The Washington defense already was struggling this season. Keelan Cole or Laviska Shenault? Yeah, I refuse to start Laviska Shenault. I will not put myself through that pain. I would rather root for Keelan Cole than Laviska Shenault. It's just brutal. This isn't me hating on Laviska. It's more about Urban Meyer. But yeah, I mean, they just refuse to get their most talented players involved. You just can't trust Laviska Shenault in any match. It's like a good matchup for him. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Dylan, Julio, or Hunt at flex. Congrats on Android. Thanks, man. Yeah, guys, Android is here. We are in the review process right now. We're just waiting for them to push us through. So we will be in Android likely today, at some point today. Dylan, Julio, or Hunt at flex. Yeah, I think I would go with Julio. I would probably rank these guys as Julio first in a PPR league, then Dylan, then Kareem Hunt. Cordell Patterson or David Montgomery, both are good options. It's tough to be benching Cordell Patterson, but I feel like you kind of have to be playing David Montgomery with the workload he's seeing. I think I would go Monty over Cordell Patterson, even though I think I have Patterson in my top 10 running backs and not Monty. I think I would put Monty ahead of Cordell instead on this list. Hey Sam, Ayuk or Hilliard? Yeah, I'd go Ayuk. I'm not feeling great about Hilliard. A lot of people asking about Hilliard. I guess I didn't expect that as much as it has happened. He's had over 15 points in back-to-back games, but I think his floor is still really low. Like the volume is just not going to be that high for him. Terry or Julio? I'd go Terry over Julio. Crowder, Gage, or Pitts in the flex spot. Need a win to secure first-round bye. Yeah, I'd go Crowder over Pitts. I would go Crowder over Pitts. Lamar or Stafford? I refuse to bench Lamar Jackson. I refuse to bench him. I will not bench him. Like, the floor is just so high, and the ceiling is also so high. Can't get Taysom. Josh Allen or Stafford? You're not playing Taysom over Josh Allen anyway. Definitely Josh Allen. Jameson, Elite, Crowder, or DJ Moore. Definitely DJ Moore over Crowder. Jeff Wilson. Yeah, I mean, Jeff Wilson has some upside, but I'm nervous about him with Debo Samuel back. Higgins or Monty at flex. Yeah, I like both these guys a lot. Higgins' ceiling is really – Higgins has had back-to-back games over 100 yards. And he's playing third string, fourth string players in the secondary today. I don't think you're crazy for playing T. Higgins over David Montgomery. I actually think I would. Tight ends that you would recommend, yeah, Juan. If you're digging deep for tight ends, I got a few different options for you. The first is Austin Hooper. If he's available, he's probably not available, but he might be. And he's the only tight end available for the Browns today. He's going to play every single snap, and the Browns are a big part of the tight ends are a big part of the Browns offense. But if he's not available, I would go add Ricky Seals-Jones, who's going to be playing an every down role with Logan Thomas out. Deontay Foreman or James Robinson? Definitely James Robinson. I would play David Montgomery over James Conner as well. OBJ or Crowder? That one's tough. I would probably go with OBJ over Crowder. I think I would go with OBJ over Crowder. I just think the ceiling for OBJ is high. And he's just in such a better offense than Crowder is. Do I drop Michael Carter? If you are in the fantasy football playoffs, I'm pretty sure he was ruled out for the season. I could be wrong. Let me pull this up. Carter will be eligible to return for the first week of the fantasy playoffs. So next week. Yeah, no, don't drop him. Don't drop Michael Carter. Actually, go add Michael Carter if anyone dropped him. Julio or Renfro? Yeah, it's got to be Renfro over Julio. Renfro's been on fire. Back-to-back games over 100 yards and another game against the Chiefs, which is a good matchup for him. Crowder or Gage? Yeah, I would go Jameson Lee Crowder over Russell Gage. And also, Darren Waller's out again this week, so fire up Renfro again with a lot of confidence. Jamar Jefferson or Rex Burkhead for running back? I think it's Rex over Jamar Jefferson. OBJ or Amari Cooper? Definitely Cooper for me over OBJ. James Conner or Hollywood Brown or Clyde start 2? Got to be Hollywood, man. You got to start Hollywood Brown. And I would probably start Clyde over James Conner too. Hi, Sam. WalterPicks famous. Is it famous? Deontay Foreman, A.J. Dillon, and Ricky Seals-Jones, Schultz or Higbee. I would probably play A.J. Dillon over Foreman, and I think I would play Ricky Seals-Jones over Higbee. Schultz is much closer. I pull up my top 10 tight ends. I have Schultz ranked number 8. I think I would go Schultz. I think I'll go Schultz over Ricky Seals-Jones. I do think Ricky Seals-Jones is not a horrible sleeper, though. Knox over Pitts, guys. It's Knox over Pitts this week. It has to be. It has to be Knox over Pitts. Like, I'm done trusting Pitts over Dawson Knox. Dawson Knox, I think, is in line for a pretty big game. Guys, we are entering the best part of the live stream where we go live only on YouTube. So if you want to be around for the end of the stream, you got to click the link in the bio on the TikTok live. We're about to go live only on YouTube. We're going to go rapid fire in the comment section. I'm going to try to answer as many comments as I can. Is Clyde a good play? He's an okay play. You can come to the YouTube live by going to the link in the TikTok bio. Thank you guys for tuning in. And good luck today. All right, we are live just on YouTube. We're going to go rapid fire in the comments. Sony Michel or James Robinson? I would personally be going with James Robinson over Sony Michel. It definitely is close, though. Connor or Hilliard? I'm going Connor. I don't like Hilliard. Foreman or Igwebike? Probably Foreman over Igwebike. I'm not feeling great about either of the Lions running backs this week. Top 10 receivers. Yeah, Juan, let me pull these up. I actually have 11 in my top 10 because Jameson Lee Crowder, of course, is number 1. Titans minus 6.5. Don't hate it. I'd be pretty surprised if the Titans lost this one. MVS or Nick Westbrook or Hilliard at flex? Yeah, Jason, I would go MVS, man. He had back-to-back games now with at least 8 targets. Like, you can't feel very good about the other two either. I think I would go Scantling. Nick Chubb, Patterson, or CEH? I'd go Cordero over Nick Chubb and over CEH. I would. I don't feel great about it. Like, I won't be surprised if that doesn't end up being right, but I think the process is correct to go Patterson over CH and Nick Chubb. Patterson is almost definitely going to outtouch both of them. Both of these other guys are splitting the work. CH is only getting half the work. I would definitely play Crowder over Hilliard as well. Yeah, I would play T. Higgins over OBJ 100%. T. Higgins has back-to-back games over 100 yards. Sterling Shepard, he's risky. He's averaging 11 targets a game in his healthy games, but he's only played 3 healthy games. He's played 5 total games. He got hurt in 2 of them. Like, he's definitely a risk of re-injury. It's unclear if he's going to be playing his full allotment of snaps. If he does, if you think he's going to play his full allotment of snaps, like, he's a pretty good play. We got a report here from Adam Schefter that Chase Edmonds will be activated tomorrow, and he's going to have a role on Monday night. So bad news for James Conner. Like, he still has touchdown upside, but it's not good news for James Conner. Hollywood Brown or Gallup and Hilliard or Edmonds? Yeah, I'd go Edmonds over Hilliard. I would play Hollywood Brown over Gallup 100%. Seals Jones, Everett, Ingram, or Moreau. Moreau and Seals Jones is close, man. It's really close. I actually think I like Seals Jones a little bit more. Hey Sam, Burkhead, Marvin Jones, or Penny, pick 2, please. Yeah, I can't get behind Marvin Jones. I would probably go Burkhead and Penny. If I were to choose one of the Lions running backs, and honestly, I think it would be Jamar Jefferson. But Iwubike is, I think, the receiving back. So in a PPR league, I think Iwubike. If it's not a PPR league, then Jefferson. But I don't like either of them. No, Tony Pollard is not playing. And I agree. I think Zeke could easily go off today for his best game of the season. And also, the Washington football team defense is without their top 3 defensive ends. They're basically playing practice squad level defensive linemen today for Dallas with only Zeke. Like, it's just everything's aligning. There's no excuse for Zeke this week. Rodgers or Taysom Hill, I would be playing Rodgers over Taysom Hill. Chuba Hubbard or Ayuk. I think Chuba Hubbard is the trap of the week because he's been playing behind Amir Abdullah each of the last 2 games. Like, I'm not sure why everyone's assuming Chuba Hubbard is going to start over Amir Abdullah or outtouch Amir Abdullah when he didn't in the last 2 games. Like, he did start last time and see a lot of volume last time CMC was out, but I think the situation's different now. I would definitely go Ayuk. Guyton, Hilliard, or Penny. Yeah, I would probably I want to start Penny. I would go Penny over Hilliard. I feel like that's the process here might not be great, but Penny has a high ceiling. I think he has a lower floor than Hilliard, but he's a much higher ceiling. Like, if Rashad Penny looks better and does better than Alex Collins in the first quarter of the game, he could rush for 100 yards today. The Texans defense allowing 125 rushing yards per game. That's the most in the NFL. Hey Sam, Russell Wilson or Taysom Hill or Teddy B. Yeah, I like Taysom Hill more than both these other guys. Russ is kind of tough to trust, honestly. The Texans secondary has weirdly not allowed many points, and it's mostly because the run defense is so bad and the Texans are so bad that teams can just run all over them, and that's what the Seahawks want to do. A.J. Dillon, Ty Johnson, or Judy. I'm not starting Ty Johnson in a single situation. I'd be playing A.J. Dillon. I think Judy has the highest ceiling. A.J. Dillon is the safer floor. So, Kellen, ask yourself, do you want a chance at 20 points? You go with Judy. Do you want to lock in like at least 10? I'd probably go with A.J. Dillon. Chubb or Sony Michel? It's got to be Sony over Chubb this week. It has to be. I don't feel good about that at all, though. Judy or Beasley? I think I would play Beasley over Judy, honestly. I just want pieces of this Bills-Buccaneers game. Kittle or Andrews? I would not be benching Kittle. Bass or Bullock? Jeremy, man, every second I spend thinking about kickers is a wasted second that I'm never going to get back. Just play the kicker on the team that you think is going to score the most points. Just play the kicker on the team that you think is going to score the most points. Literally, you can just go look at every team's implied team total. Just pick those kickers. That's really all it is. Other than that, like, we're just wasting our time. Pick 2, Gallup, Amari Cooper, or Freeman. I would go with Amari Cooper, definitely. I actually don't hate going Amari Cooper and Gallup, but I think Freeman's a better play than Gallup. So I'd probably go Amari Cooper and Freeman. Actually, by the way, going back to the kickers thing, you won't find kickers anywhere in the WalterPicks app because from the start, like I really believe we're just wasting time if we're talking about kickers. Like, just remove them from fantasy, please. Mike Williams or Javonte Williams at flex. I would probably go Javonte over Mike. He's just way safer, Jake. He's just way safer. Mike Williams has a ceiling, but so does Javonte Williams. Like, the ceiling is not, it's not like there's no ceiling for Javonte. I know Melvin Gordon's back, but I think I would go Javonte over Mike Williams. Jeff Wilson or Abdullah. Yeah, Ben, I feel like we're taking a big risk if you're starting Abdullah over Jeff Wilson. Like, I won't be surprised if Abdullah does better than Jeff Wilson, but I think it's bad process to start Abdullah over Jeff Wilson. Like, Jeff Wilson's the starting running back for the 49ers. Abdullah is not locked in as the starter. Like, there's absolutely a chance Chuba Hubbard out-touches him. I don't think that will happen, but it's definitely possible. So, yeah, I would play Jeff Wilson. Are we feeling Javonte Williams or Antonio Gibson in DraftKings? Has to be Gibson, man. Has to be Gibson. With no J.D. McKissick, it's got to be Gibson over Javonte. But Javonte does have the better matchup. He does. Like, I won't be shocked if Javonte goes off against the Lions either. Traquan Smith or Judy? I would go Judy. I don't want nothing to do with Traquan Smith. Thoughts on Saquon today? Yeah, I mean, he's got a great matchup. He should be really, really involved. Like, very involved. I like Saquon. He's the only Giants player I trusted, like, even remotely. Jarvis Landry this week? Yeah, I like Jarvis Landry this week too. He's had back-to-back games over 14 points. Top 10 defenses, have a nice day. Yeah, the top two. I'll give you the top two. It's the Chargers and it's the Saints. Sony Michel or AJ Dillon, got to be Sony. Got to be Sony. Rank these players. Oh, God. Chuba Hubbard, Jamar Jefferson, Singletary, Penny. If I'm going to rank these guys in terms of who I would want to start, I would put Penny number 1. Probably Jamar Jefferson number 2, Chuba Hubbard number 3, and Singletary number 4. I don't like any of them except for Penny, really. But all of them are super risky. Oscar, I think I would play Hilliard over Chuba Hubbard. Like, I don't like either of these guys. I think both of them are traps, but I think Chuba Hubbard's a really big trap. Like, the matchup's good for Chuba Hubbard, and that's just about it. There is an actual chance Chuba Hubbard sees less than 10 touches in this game. I would argue the ceiling is higher for Chuba Hubbard, but I'm not starting him. Dawson Knox or D-Hop? Definitely D-Hop. Don't start 2 tight ends. I like Dawson Knox this week. I'm playing him in every single DraftKings lineup. You can see my one of my favorite tournament DraftKings lineups right here. But I'm not starting Dawson Knox over DeAndre Hopkins. Chase Edmonds or Devontae Freeman? I would probably go Devontae Freeman still. Crowder or Terry, and Saquon or Julio? Definitely Terry over Crowder. Definitely Saquon over Julio. Renfro or Mike Williams? This one's interesting, Billy. This one's close. Renfro is probably who I would go with, though. I would probably go with Renfro. The Raiders-Chiefs game should be much more high scoring than the Chargers-Giants game. And there's no Darren Waller again this week. So I'm going with Renfro. Like, I feel pretty good about Renfro's floor and ceiling. Brandon Cooks or Jameson Crowder, half PPR. Yeah, I would go Crowder over Cooks. Please, Ayuk, Cooks, or Landry. This one's close. This one's close too. I would bench Cooks though. I don't feel good about Cook's floor at all. I think Cook's floor is really low. He's also questionable with a back injury. I think he's active. Yeah, he is active. But he's been in a slump. But he has dominated in targets with Davis Mills under center. And he should see volume against the Seahawks, pretty weak secondary. But I still don't love him. I think I would probably go with Landry, honestly. I think I would go with Landry against the Ravens. I think the Ravens offense is going to do well against the Browns defense today. Ty Johnson or Bateman? I would go Bateman over Ty Johnson. I want nothing to do with Ty Johnson. I want nothing to do with Ty Johnson. I want nothing to do with Chuba Hubbard. I don't really want anything to do with Dontrell Hilliard. Like, these are guys that I think at least 2 of those guys are going to complete bust. Must win Cam or Russ, and ban Jefferson or Julio. Cam Newton is super risky this week, but I'm starting in one league where I am in a must-win situation because the ceiling is there for Cam. The Falcons have been really bad against rushing quarterbacks this season. They've been bad against passing quarterbacks too. They are bottom 10 defense against quarterbacks this season. I think almost every quarterback against them has had 15-plus points. The only big risk with Cam is if he gets benched. which is possible. Like that is a risk you're playing with Cam. But as long as you can eat that risk, as long as you can take on that risk, I think you start Cam over us. And Van Jefferson is not a guy I would start over Julio Jones. I'm Dawson Knox versus Gronk. This is the same game. Bills versus the Bucks. I kind of feel like Gronk would be the most common answer to this question, but I'm starting Dawson Knox over Gronk. Oh, and this week I have him one spot ahead in the rankings. I'm playing Dawson Knox ahead of Gronk. The Buccaneers have been worse against tight ends than the Bills have. Amari Cooper or Sony Michel gave 5 stars in the App Store. Thanks, man. Yeah, I think I would go with Sony Michel over Amari Cooper. I like Cooper this week, but Sony Michel's just locked into 20 plus touches. Guys, if you are just tuning in and you haven't done it yet, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I do appreciate it. It does help us out tremendously, more than you likely realize. Helps out a ton. Jameson, Crowder, or Mike Williams. Yeah, Anthony, you should probably play Mike Williams. I like Crowder though, but you should probably play Mike Williams. Love the app. OBJ, Ayuka, the Bazooka, Van Jefferson, Devontae Freeman, Gage, Hilliard, pick 2. 1 running back 2 and 1 flex. Yeah, I think I would go with OBJ for the ceiling or with Ayuk for the floor. Definitely not Van Jefferson over either of them. And then I would go with Devontae Freeman. Start 2, full PPR, Saquon, Cordero, and Javonte. Yeah, I think all 3 of these guys are good. I'm definitely starting Saquon in a PPR league, and it's really tough to be benching Javonte too. I think you go Javonte. Is Chuba Hubbard a risk? Yeah, he's a massive risk. He didn't play more than Amir Abdullah in the last 2 games. So there's a chance he doesn't play more than Amir Abdullah in this game. So yeah, he's a risk. I think he's absolutely a risk. And with Cam Newton too, there's also just a lesser chance of a touchdown for him. He's a really big risk. I think he's the biggest trap of the week, honestly. Julio, CEH, or DK. I would rank them in reverse order here, I think. DK Metcalf first, CEH second, Julio third. Broncos or Chargers defense. Both are good. I think I like the Chargers defense more than the Broncos, though. Foreman's he's a deep league start. I don't think he's a must start, but he can be started. It is a good matchup for Foreman. Ty Johnson with Tevin Coleman out or Abdullah. Yeah, I'm not feeling good about Ty Johnson at all. The Saints' run defense is so good. I would play Abdullah over Ty Johnson. The Saints' defense is the best run defense in the league, and the Falcons' run defense is not good. Choose 2, please, Sam. Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore, T. Higgins, or Jameson, Elite, Crowder, have a good day. Yeah, I think I would go with Higgins and DJ Moore. I think I would go with Higgins and DJ Moore. Good luck getting out of last, Kylo. I appreciate you tuning in, and I'm definitely rooting for you. Mike Williams, Terry McLaurin, Amari Cooper, pick 2, half PPR. This one's definitely tough too. I would probably go McLaurin and Cooper though. Again, I think this Chargers-Giants game could be really low scoring. I won't be shocked if it's a low scoring game. You good this morning, Sam? You seem stressed, my guy. I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah, no, I'm excited. There's a lot to be excited about. We have Android launching today. We got Jameson Elite Crowder set to smash today. So no, I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. There's a crazy amount of injuries this week. So updating the projections, I think this is the most time I've spent in a week updating the projections for the WalterPicks app. There's an insane amount of injuries. This is why we're getting questions about Dontrell Hilliard and Amir Abdullah and Iwu BK in week 14. Flex 1, full PPR to clinch playoffs, Burkhead, Darrell Williams, or Hilliard. Yeah. I'm not starting Hilliard, but like in this situation, you definitely can consider it. I don't think I'd play Burkhead. Honestly, I think this one's Hilliard. Over Darrell Williams, over Burkhead. I would go Hilliard. This one's super close, Ruben. Do you think Swift comes back this season? Probably not. Like, what is the incentive for Swift coming back? The Lions should be trying to lose. Hey, Walter, can't wait for Android app. Thanks, Peter. It's coming today, man. 2 QB league, Zach Wilson or Mike Glennon? Yeah, this has got to be Zach Wilson. I have such little faith in Mike Lennon. It's like, so there's not a single quarterback I dislike more this week than Mike Lennon, which is exactly why the Chargers defense is a good bet. Must win Cooks or Wilson, also Herbert or Russ. Brandon Cooks or Jeff Wilson, I'm assuming. I think I would go Brandon Cooks over Jeff Wilson. And then Herbert or Russ, I would go Herbert over Russ. McLaren, Van Jefferson, or Hunt. Higgins, J-Rob, or Lockett. I think I would go the first two. Both two are really safe. McLaurin, Van Jefferson, or Hunt. Yeah, it's got to be McLaurin over Van Jefferson and Hunt. Pick two, Crowder, Judy, Cooper, McLaurin. I think it's Cooper McLaurin. We got 5 minutes left in the stream. It's been a fun one, guys. It's been a fun one. This is the week I did not think we would get this season. This is the week I did not think we would get this season. We have a Jameson Elite Crowder week in front of us against a bottom 5 Saints secondary with no Corey Davis and with no Elijah Moore and with no Tevin Coleman and with no Michael Carter. Like, everything's aligning for Jameson Crowder to feast today. This is the week for Jameson Crowder. He's the free prop pick of the day. McLaurin or D-Hop? Yeah, I'd go McLaurin over D-Hop. It's a good matchup for McLaurin. Melvin Gordon or Hilliard? I'm going Gordon over Hilliard. Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady? This one's close. Teresa, I think I would go Aaron Rodgers, though. I'm very, very interested to see how this Bills defense holds up against the Buccaneers, because we have not seen a game without Tre'Davious White where there wasn't 50-mile-an-hour winds. Like, I'm interested to see if the Bills defense is still good, because they were very, very good with Tre'Davious White. They were the best defense in the league. So I'm still taking Aaron Rodgers over Brady, but I do think this one's close, and I am very, very intrigued to see how Brady and Buccaneers offense does. That game is going to have a lot of implications in terms of Super Bowl odds and like whether or not either of those teams are real Super Bowl contenders. Like, if the Bucs lose this game, that's going to be really tough to trust them to make a Super Bowl run. But if the Bucs win, it's going to be really tough to trust the Bills to make any sort of Super Bowl run without Tre'Davious White. Any props on Zeke? If I were to take any prop on Zeke, it'd probably be either his touchdown prop or his rushing prop. AZ or Chargers defense? Definitely Chargers. CEH or James Conner? I'm going CEH over James Conner. Wilson or Chuba Hubbard PPR? Yeah, I'm not trusting Chuba Hubbard. I'm going Wilson. Landry or Sony? I think you kind of have to go Sony. CEH or James Conner? Again, I'm going CEH. Hey, Sam, please pick two. Marquise Brown, Ayuka the Bazooka, Renfro, or Odell Beckham Jr. I think you go Renfro and Marquise Brown. I think both those guys have a high floor, high ceiling. Rank Saquon, Cordero, and Montgomery. Yeah, I think I would put Saquon number 1, Monty number 2, Cordero number 3. But Cordero and Monty, I think, are back-to-back in my rankings. I think they're 10 and 11. And Saquon's, I think, a little bit higher than that, at like 7. Thinking about actually spending money in the app for first time. Thanks, man. Anyways, start Taysom Hill or Russ. I have Alvin Kamara at running back 1. Yeah, you still start Taysom. I think Taysom and Kamara is fine. They're playing the Jets. You get a 7-day free trial, man. And this is, I think right now, the price is only $40 a year for the fantasy tools. And it's $120 a year for the whole app. And you're going to renew at that discounted price too. So this is the time to do it, man. This is the time. Thanks for another great stream. Happy Football Sunday. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Seriously, I appreciate you all tuning in. I hope you guys have a fantastic Sunday. I hope we all get into the fantasy football playoffs. Guys, I will be back live Thursday night, and I'll be live from the Thursday night game. I'm going to the Thursday night game this week, next week. It's the Chargers versus the Chiefs, arguably the best Thursday night game of the season. So make sure you're tuning in Thursday night to the TikTok Live, YouTube Live, and make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, because I'll be live from SoFi Stadium on Thursday night. Really looking forward to that. Guys, have a fantastic Sunday. Good luck and be great.